parking. Guy pulls up, staring at windows are like this. He gets out of the car and is just walking around the front looking at it. So I knocked and just said, yo. He got mad, thought that I was saying, go. But I was like, no, I'm just letting you know I'm in here. I don't think you're gonna steal, but he got out and started going around my car. I've already had a few people today go around the side and accuse me of stealing the deer from somebody's camp. You know what I'm saying? So then he was like, are you living in the car? I'm like, yeah, I'm traveling. I'm a hobo. So I don't know, man. I didn't get a license plate on the car. You never know. I'm just here till 4. I want my energy drink. I want my vape, but I don't know, man. I get it. I was there once. I was angry. I'm angry like twice a month at least. There was a guy that was scoping around. And I don't know what he was trying to do, but I knocked on the window and I was like, yo. And he thought that I was... he was mad. But I was like, to be fair, man, I know you probably see the silhouette and you're like, what the hell is that, a dog? So I thought Bucky would be pretty cool to keep out here, but it's looking like it's just a magnet. I've had like 5 or 6 people now. I've been at the park and ride for like 4 hours. And I've already had like 5 or 6 people come by and try to take it. So, yeah, he's mad at nothing. That ain't my fault. What the hell am I supposed to say? I said, yo, and he was like, go, and I'm like, no, I'm saying, yo, I'm in here, just letting you know. And he's like, you living in there? And I'm like, yeah. But then I had 2 old white people. By old, I mean one looked like he was 80, and then one looked like she was 40. Come to the window and was like, can you see in there? And then the old guy was like, yeah, he probably stole it from a camp. And I said, ain't nobody stole anything from a camp, man. Come on. For real? Like, nobody stole this from a camp. And she's just staring at me, fat, looking at me through the window, trying to figure out if she can see who I am through the tint and the fog. And I said, nobody stole it. And I said, that's my friend. I said, that's my friend, but I think she meant, I think she probably thought I said, that's my friend's deer. You heard? So, then we had this guy pull up, get right out of the car, light up a cigarette, and he's just scoping out the shit, looking in the car, not even looking at the deer, just looking in the car. So I knocked on the window and went, yo, and he was like, you said go? Put his hand in his pocket. Like he's gonna pull something out. Mad that I knocked on the window and said go, like get out of here. And I said, yo, trying to let him know do not scope out my shit, man. I am living in this bitch. Alright. Come on, Bucky. We're gonna do a spin move. Alright. Now, the sun will heat that up. So in case I died. I just had that. Where did I put it? What'd I do, man? What? Oh, it's right here. Oh god, now I'm in his spot and I feel his energy. Oh god. He's an angry person. Buy fart coin? I don't even know what that is. What the fuck is a fart coin? Holy fuck. Woo! I can't, look, this is what I'm dealing with. I can't wipe this or it will create residue from my fucking shirt and then it blinds me in the middle of the night when the headlights hit against the car and I can't see. So I have to sit here. Shit coin, fart coin, cum coin, tear coin, earwax coin. You keep coming out with new ones, man, and I know what you're doing. You're just trying to take my money. You're trying to take my money, bitch. I know you. You can't fool me. You can't fool me, bitch. I put a spell on you. You will buy fart coin. I just want this to work, man. I just want this to work, man. Hey, why can't I just park here? Thank you, God, for letting me know that that would happen, because my plan, I was like, why don't I just leave my fucking... We should check out that church and hope nobody stole my shit from it. That's pretty concerning, man, that there's actually some criminal activity happening. Shit. Where can I go to sleep? My cat's name is Mr. Pickles. Big Father. O. Big Father O says my cat's name is Mr. Pickles. I don't see my 70-year-old father telling me to buy fart coin, man. That's a crazy character arc. If my dad is in my chat telling me to buy fart coin of everything you could have said. He told me to buy the fart. Oh, there's a bird. Hold up. There's a fucking... This is the second time where a hawk flew and then suddenly... Why did that show up right when the hawk showed up, man? The plane and the hawk at the same time. That can't be Dad telling me by fart coin. I think my life will go a lot better once my mom is dead. I really think it will. All this bullshit will stop. Justice for Hunter? Who the fuck is Hunter? Look, it says Justice for Hunter out there. Get away from me, water. God! I want to show them that sign right there. Justice for Hunter. Can't, man. The sun has melted all the snow. I can't do any donuts, man. Whoa, roller coaster ride. I can't. Jelly donut. What's up with these? What is going on synchronistically? Okay. I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna fucking freak out. I'm gonna fucking freak, man. I'm looking around. I'm looking around. Okay. See what? I need a Tesla bot that I'm gonna attach this buck's head to, and my robot servant Bucky can just take my car to and from the church. While I live out here in the woods, he can deliver me my vehicle. And then I'll have a Billie Eilish bot or a Sydney Sweeney bot. To keep me company. Get me an Ice Spice bot. Get me a Nadia Lugungugu or whatever her name from Black Panther is. Black Panther wife. Black Pantheress. Not Shuri, the love interest. I want her. I want Nadia Luwangu. Yo, bro, my GF cheated on me with my dog. What should I do? Knick-knack, paddywhack, give your dog a bone. A bit too serious. Your dog, cheat on you with your dog. That's a can of tuna fish I didn't expect would be open today. You done? Well, at this point, you gotta fuck your cat, I think. Right? That's the only reasonable answer, right? If your girlfriend cheats on you with your dog, you should probably fuck her cat, I think. I've heard that you can catch cats by laying trails of treats, like James Woods in Family Guy, where you just line them all up all the way to your bedroom, and I think you shouldn't have any problem. And I don't know, fuck something. Just my first girlfriend liked when we were having sex, she liked calling her dad. I swear to God, she was a bad bitch, really bad looking girl, good looking girl, I guess. Bad bitch, good looking girl, very attractive. And it wasn't all the time. It was like twice. It was like twice, like her dad called once, and she wanted to answer it while I was fucking her. Isn't that crazy? Girls like it. Girls like ruining men's lives. I think they should be burned at the stake, actually. I think that I think the patriarchy should be in place. I think women are evil. Now, which one of you took my fucking vape? Was it a woman? Okay. Where's my vape? Oh, I've lost it. Damn, I've lost it. I've lost my vape. Fuck you. Okay. We're gonna figure this shit out. One by one. Okay. I'm one of you. Respectfully, I've been homeless longer than you were, bitch ass nigga. Okay. That's the sound that girl's cat will make. You don't need no fucking vape. Well, I'm having one, bitch. Fuck you. With whom are you speaking right now? I don't know. I don't know who you are. Cheat on her back with the same dog. Jelly Donut says, I don't think you should cheat on that same dog. I think you should. I mean, you gotta neuter the dog at least, because that's a crime. You have to neuter the dog. You can't let the dog walk around. After the dog took your girl, you're gonna let him walk around with nuts? No way. Like, at that point, that dog should be opening up food for you and then going to work. If that dog fucked your girlfriend, that dog should be paying the bills. No more going on walks. No more cleaning up that dog's shit. That dog needs a 401k. He needs to be on the lease at least. No way. This guy's girlfriend cheated on him with his dog, he says. So I'm like, that dog needs to, if he's gonna overextend his position there, he needs to be taking on some more responsibilities around the house. If that dog cheated, if my girlfriend cheated on me with the dog, when I come back, they're in separate cages. No more interplay. There's not a fence. Not my dog. No way. My buddy here was too horny for his own good. It got him killed. I drive around with a buck's head and old white people tell me, did you steal it from a camp? And I'm like, you should be back in the camp. You stole my home and my land. I'm waiting till you die, and then I'm gonna figure out what the property values will be like once you're all dead. When they seize your assets, I'm gonna come to you on your deathbed and be like, you really want the government taking your shit back? Give it all to me. You're gonna die, you have no heirs. Don't give it back to the government. Give it back to me. Give it to me. My land. Come put that. She said that. Wait. He tried to pull a gun. I made that pussy put it down, and she sit that kitty down while I chill and watch Sopranos on the new Tony Montana. Cause we came out snowy mountains, but we hotter than a sauna. If they try to pull up on us, it's noguero su luguero cumpleaños. I do business mano mano, sauce them up, pico de gallo, eat, devour, and defile. Tried to shake their hand, but it curled into a fist. I don't politic with pissy pessimists. Don't pretend to be the shit when you're nothing but a wimp. Get the fuck up off my dick before I pull up on your bitch, seduce and feed her on my kids. You know exactly who this is, motherfucker. I'm him. And then my producer tag, Casey. And that's a pretty good song. That's called Shot for Shot. You can find it on my channel. Let's put Bucky back in position, shall we? I've been down for so long, I don't remember what up was being like. I know I used to make jokes and run around all day, and I was very competent and intelligent and a role model in the community, but trauma and brain damage fucked me up, man. Oh, God, don't make mistakes, chat. I was so mad months ago when the buck's head fell. But look, and it chipped the pit of the antler, but look. Perfect. Look, I was so sad that the buck's antler chipped, but now that I'm in the car, perfect. Alright, we're gonna go back to the church, and hopefully they're gone and nobody has stolen any of my stuff. I have protein bars, and I have a bag of cereal. And the bag of cereal makes me feel sick. Cereal is not good for you. Whoa. Okay. Kooky. Does anybody want to know my spiritual breakthroughs and my intense esoteric wisdom I uncover in my unique experience? No. Nobody cares about the truth. So, I'm gonna listen to music. Oh, there's people. What up, everybody? I'm driving down the road. Wow. Look at all those clouds that were seeded and now. You think those are aliens up there? I don't know. What is this? I'm looking for... Look at all this land nobody uses, man. Nobody ever uses that piece of land to my left here. It's a fucking scrap yard up there. People don't even live in this house. People don't even live there. That's an empty house. And then that's a hardworking family that lives in the trailer, and nobody even live. What? There's a Department of Fish and Wildlife access right there. You can't see where I'm going. And there's nobody behind me because nobody lives up here. Hey, there is an automotive shop here. Maybe I can get them to stop me. Yeah. And they are help wanted at that restaurant, man. It's just white people, man. They give me the creeps. I always feel like they're gonna get hijacked by a demonic entity and just run at me. Like in the It Chapter 2 when the old grandma comes running out of the thing naked. Every time I see a white person, I'm like, fuck. At any minute, I could just turn around and they're a foot taller and naked and running at me screaming, hey, there's a fucking, hey, that hawk, that speckled hawk was just right above the power line directly above my car, staring at me. Left to right, which wasn't great. It was facing left to right. That's not good. And it's facing left to right. Remember that. Sounds like you need wheel bearings. Yeah, I need 2 wheel hubs. Because if one goes, the other one's on its way. They wear evenly. So I need to replace 2 wheel hubs, but I have a school that is willing to do it for free. And they might even give me a discount for the parts. Because they have a school discount for the parts. So the person was pretty willing, but got 10 bucks in cash. I'm on a quarter of a tank. I've got $17 because I spent the money going back to that place to get the rest of my stuff and bring it up here, which is where the last YouTube dono went to. So maybe I should go. Well, my fucking breath stinks, man, and I don't look great, so I have to check for stains because I be eating snacks in the back seat, like sesame noodles and whatever's at the food shelf. And I'll be like having burritos and the pepper falls out of the burrito and shit. So I have to check my hoodie for stains and I have to brush my teeth. Today's, I'm going 45 and a 35. Thank you, speed limit sign. And then here's the gas station I'm trying to work at. But they're not getting back to me. They don't seem too keen. Hey, a bunch of birds right to left. Right in front of the gas station where I'm trying to work. It's almost like God is encouraging me to do it. To work at the gas station. But she said she's going to talk to her supervisor tomorrow to waive the criminal record. And just let me work there because they desperately need help. And my charge is literally just violations of conditions of release. Because somebody bumped into me in the hallway. And then I trespassed on a place that only trespassed me because they didn't like my hair. And then I trespassed to escape a hurricane in a field that was technically owned by the same company. It wasn't like I was walking around saying, fuck you, fuck all this, I'll kill you, I hate you. I was saying that to the crows. But I wasn't saying it back then. Am I a victim? Unfortunately. I try not to let it get to me, but the residual trauma really gets to me sometimes, especially if they like there are people that instigate disorderly conducts to coerce resistance through hurting you during the arrest for a subjective disorderly, just to have the judge throw it out, but they still got to hurt you with excessive force. Now, it does look like somebody went through my shit, which isn't great, but it doesn't look like anything was stolen. It just looks like they definitely lifted it up and looked inside at everything. You can see different footprints, and I don't know what that is. Something fell out of their pocket, it looks like. But it's not gonna snow, so I can come back in a couple hours. And today God showed me at least on Sundays I need to find a better spot, and there is a better spot that the universe is showing me. Very cool. Hey, bird left to right as I'm trying to leave, and I was gonna go somewhere else. The bird was like, nope, stay here. You don't have the gas. The birds literally circled me in, so I am gonna stay here and hang out. The birds have never led me astray. The birds lead me to crazy things. Like the birds led me to MGK once. The birds led me to $100 once. The birds led me to a bunch of free vapes when I was trying to quit smoking. Cigarettes. The birds led me here. The birds led me to the only job in the state that is willing to try to hire me. The birds do not lead me astray, man. Thinking that the birds are the universe giving me a sign and then following them has never led me to a bad place ever in the past 4 years I've been doing it. Now I wish the birds could lead me to my vape. It's right here. You don't watch car people? I don't watch car people either. But Megan Fox was pretty hot in that movie. Meow. Okay. The problem is Bucky's too horny to be in my car, man. It's like if I try to put him up right here, he's too thick. You can see I tried to super glue his antler back together, but then the super glue was so strong, I fucked up the bone a little bit. So I'm gonna have to fix him a little bit. Maybe I'll put a do-rag on him. No, they said that would be disrespectful. They said super gluing the antler together is not disrespectful, but if you dress him up or anything, that's pretty disrespectful. That's like mocking it. But just having the taxidermy, there is a spiritual benefit to him. I just need to clean him a little bit. Keeping him in my car is pretty cool, except a bunch of white people. A bunch of old white people show up and it's like, I bet he stole it from a camp. I go, ain't nobody stole nothing from a camp. What the fuck is wrong with you? Get back in your car and leave me alone. This is my friend. If you were nicer, you could have pet him. And the fat fucking pig people are like, I'm like, keep walking. You genetically deficient demon people. And then a guy got out of the car and was scoping out my car. I know he didn't. I'd like to hope he wasn't trying to scope it out to steal it. But I did just slam on the window and said, nope, don't do it. Just because he was like, his head was down, smoking a cigarette and just walking around. I know it's my own personal bias, whatever. But I didn't like the energy of the situation where he was scoping out my car. I know he was just trying to look at the cool buck. I just slammed on the window and said, nope, just letting you know I'm in here. He's like, oh, you live in the car? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I'm traveling. If he had just said, oh, I was just looking at your buck head, and I was like, oh, cool. But he didn't. He got back in his car. Which I didn't like. I didn't like that. I didn't like that he didn't persevere with genuine intention. He reclused back into his evil cave. Now this guy looks like he's going somewhere in life. Well, it depends on how much gas I have. I'm just waiting on the job, man. I'm just waiting on this job up here. You gonna let me bust? You gonna let me bust? No. You gonna let me work really hard for a couple weeks? Stack up $3,000, fix my car, pay off the 800 and something. And it's like 1,170 I've paid, let's say. So I need 830. So if I can pull up and do 2 weeks of work, I'll have it. So freaking hot. I feel like I look gross, man. I used to have a 6-pack. I used to be able to bench 225. I didn't have neck beard and turkey gullet going on, man. He said the really nice jawline, the cheeks that go in. Are you the Nancy Guthrie kidnapper? No, but Nancy Wheeler from Stranger Things was really hot. And then I didn't like her haircut at the season finale, man. Whatever. Appreciate it. Ooh, I got my round dance, my hand drum in my stuff over here. Where your mind is way, way more important than your body, bro. You seem chill, happy, and got a great goal. Oh, I had a little bit of rest today. It's a Sunday, so I'm feeling good. In communities that all go to church, the energy does get better. Like in places where they don't really go to church, or the people in the church are not good people. The energy in the place is pretty bad in these small towns. In this town, there's a church, and then 2 doors down is a Satanist church, and then 3 doors down is an elementary school. But the church is nice. These are the nicest church I've met so far. And the other place I went to in about an hour south, the administrative guy was pretty cool. He gave me $10 to put in gas to get here. And they said I could park there when I wanted if nobody else was there, which was nice. But everywhere I applied hasn't gotten back to me, and I've gone in there, and it's like the management lets me fill out an application. They take the application and say they'll get back to me, and then a month has gone by, and I went on another. That's where I don't get a lot of donos, but if I do, this last month it went to driving around this big lake, almost a Great Lake size, going from church to church to church, because I have this idea to end homelessness. I was looking for somebody that was interested in helping make it, and I didn't find it. Then I went to a couple different homeless conferences and rallies for homelessness, and spoke to a bunch of people, and I was trying to find the people who are actually doing the work to end it, and not people that are perpetuating the crisis for a paycheck. And I did find a lot of people that care. Do you have room? You got room? Okay. Maybe she's a pastor or something. Let me just pull out of the way so that they can get by. My hood is up, so I know that you got Cash App or Venmo. Yeah, I have it all in my channel description. But my Cash App is KCCASEY, the letter O, 9989, and then everything else, PayPal, Venmo, Wise, Chime is KC O'Brien with an EN, 1133. Right now, any donation would go probably towards gas. I'm waiting on this job right here at the gas station, and then I'm thinking about going to a local restaurant that has a now help wanted poster and seeing what they need. The problem is I have to make sure I'm kempt. So I have toothbrush, and somewhere I've got toothpaste, and I have floss. I think this is floss, right? Yeah. So then I have a bunch of fucking sesame noodle stains. Swear to God. So I have to go to the gas station and take some soap and wipe off this yellowish stains. And I know I probably smell like bad, man. I know I smell bad. So that's why I don't want to go to a local business, because local businesses usually are violent, prejudice. Corporate jobs usually have people that have suffered a lot and don't make enough money to care. When I was 16, the local restaurants really loved hiring me, but now post CPTSD, they're not too keen on hiring me. And I also think that God wants me to do it in an unconventional way. I think that the Casey story ends better if Casey finds his way to success in a way that wasn't the way that society wanted him to do it, to show that it's possible. Then I see people my age that have jobs. Like a girl I used to have a crush on is now a teacher. Fucking. Another girl I had a crush on is now a therapist. My exes all have kids. Except for one that joined the army and was a combat medic. I've been looking at puppies. Because I decided I think that something that would be really good for my mental health would be a dog. Because I could take care of a dog, and the dog would have a much better life, actually. Instead of sleeping in a crate like most dogs, it just sleeps in the car. And then spends its whole day outside. We run around, run through the woods together all day. And I don't need much to eat. I'll never be able to afford enough protein to get back into bodybuilding. So the money that I would spend on getting all that protein to gain muscle would be way more than enough to feed a dog every day. What do you want? Thank you for the $20 dono, man. Thank you, Justin Beaver, for the $20 dono. W. Justin Beaver, man. I appreciate you. I'm fucking flossing on camera, bro. Do you use Prel or Pantene shampoo? I use whatever's at the homeless shelter. Like, I don't even think that shit was soap. Somewhere in the car I do have Old Spice. Somewhere. Now I just have Spick and Span. W. Justin. Dude, it feels good to floss. Look at... Holy shit. And look, from vaping... Cigarettes didn't do that. Vaping did it. Justin, you're in Hawaii? That's where I'm planning on going next. I want to see Hawaii before natural disasters and robots. God doesn't make mistakes, and Jim Carrey sat in Hawaii and the universe gave him a scare where he thought that the world was going to be consumed by fire. So he sat on the beach in Hawaii and just came to terms with his life. He was pretty happy with it. And then it turned out it was a false alarm. Alex Jones is compromised, if you didn't know. Maui is the island. I've been thinking about it because I was looking at it. I was looking at land because they've got $10,000 plots of land in Hawaii. But when I go to Big Island, I'm in Vermont right now, and Vermont is twice the size of Big Island. And I love adventuring through Vermont. But if I went to Hawaii, I was like, it needs to have the mountains and the rivers and the diversity of the trees. That way it can be an adventure for a while. And I looked it up. If you stay in a tent in Hawaii, there's a good chance you get bit by a black widow. They've got poisonous stuff out there that you can't really be in a tent because you fall asleep and they crawl up and get you. So I was like, fuck, backpacking through Hawaii might not be the best thing. Unless I slept on the beach where the spiders couldn't really come and get me. It's too cold up here, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. I've been outside negative 65 and I liked it. Because your body only registers the temperature change. So if you're out there long term, it doesn't you get used to it very quickly. Like when it was negative 65 in Morrisville in winter of 2024, the problem was when I would go in a building, warm up, and then leave, that's when I couldn't move my fingers and everything. But if I stayed outside overnight, when I got up to go walk, and it was colder than it was the night before, it wasn't bad, because I got used to it. Big Island would be it. Tents work, man. I lived in the streets, jungles for years. I was trying to get a Cane Corso first. But people say Cane Corsos are hard to train, they're stubborn, they're independent, even though their bite force is good. And I'm thinking Cane Corsos are expensive, not a lot of people have them anyway. It might be better for me to get a Black Lab Rottweiler mix, so it has the bite force, it's still scary, but it's easily trainable, more friendly, and more kind of easy going to get a Black Lab Rottie mix. And people sell them for like $275, whereas a Cane Corso puppy usually goes for like $4,000. Plus, you gotta train them. You have to pay for training so that they don't bite your kid's face off if you train them wrong. You know me, Bob. 420 just got out of jail, man. What'd you go to jail for? How was it? I grew up in DCF, which was pretty much jail, and I've spent 70 days in jail. Aggravated sexual assault in the police canine unit. Nice. Somebody said that their girlfriend cheated on them with their dog the other 40 minutes ago. That was really funny. India, there was a guy that went to India to the poop throwing festival, and they had a guy in India who covered his backyard in shit, and every morning he would take a little speck and put it on his tongue, and it said it helped with his gut microbiome. And then the guy went down the road to the neighbors in that shit town, and they were like, yeah, we do like have a lot of shit here, but we're not like that guy. That guy's too far gone. None of us are putting shit in our mouth every morning. It's got to be about mycelium, right? It's got to be about mushrooms. India has to love shit and they worship cows because when the psychedelic mushrooms grow on cow shit. Psilocybin comes from cow shit, so that's why India probably worships cows and shit. Very true. I was on another YouTube channel. The lady said that her boyfriend cheated on her dog. True. Unemployment final boss here. True. They can't defeat me. I come back, I grow back stronger every time. But I'm not trying to get on, I'm not trying to get on benefits. I got on food stamps because people wouldn't hire me. Like, I'd go to the dollar store and they said nope. I went to the local restaurants, they said nope. I went to the Flag Road Crew company, they said no. I went to supermarkets, they said no. A lot of drama with police and local people in the town, so I was like, I just want to go lay in the tent now, because I feel I had to heal, I had to recover from trauma. So I was like, I just need to lay in the tent. Trying to get a job didn't work. They wouldn't hire me anywhere. There's no showers. Never have enough money for a gym membership, so. And I would go to the river and stuff, but still, people weren't, Cumberland Farms wouldn't do it. I did try, and then eventually when I ran out of money, and I was like, I need to figure this shit out, I got on food stamps. Are you homeless, man? I've been homeless since I was 13, or end of 13, beginning of 14. It was the year of the horse. I can't remember anymore. Well, I was born in 99. It was the year of the horse, which I think was 2014. So I might have been 15, or I just turned 15. Second half of freshman year, I dropped out. I worked full time for 2 weeks, 12-hour shifts in the dish pit at a ski resort, and then my dad bottled things up and tried to kick me out of the house, grabbed me by my leg and trying to drag me out of the house, came at me with a hammer. I had to pick him up and drop him, and I tried to drop him on the bed, but he was 280 pounds, so I just dropped him, and he fell on his hip, and I think he broke his hip, and then he had a heart attack. 26/7. Sorry, brother. Hope luck gets better. I mean, God has done so much for me. I am brave enough that I can get to a higher level of awareness with God where I break out of the simulation. I don't have the focus anymore from trauma. So I was always able to hold this high connection to God and do amazing things when I was young. I had 145 to 150 range IQ when I was 14. So I did a lot of stuff. And then I think I got overwhelmed because I didn't have enough money to make the things I was trying to do come true. So I had all these like really, really high level things and this big mission in life. And then I was working full-time pizza delivery. I was couch surfing. I was on antidepressants. The people I was staying with would smoke a lot of weed, and I would smoke it with them sometimes, but eventually I quit, and they still didn't like it, so they would blow smoke in my face and shit. And they moved from a 4. I think I liked smoking weed with my friends more than I liked smoking weed. I just liked feeling that I had a family for a little bit, even if the weed made them become more pieces of shit. And eventually they locked me out of the building because my car was going to break down, so I could no longer give the guy rides. So they didn't, and I hadn't slept in a couple days because when you are on SSRIs and you smoke weed, all the serotonin stays in your brain because the reuptake inhibitor keeps it, so you pop. So I couldn't sleep for days, and I do think that my friends were stealing my energy. So when that happens, when they get infiltrated by demonic forces by betraying the chosen one, they go crazy. So the guy did go crazy, and then the next day, my car broke down. Girlfriend left me for another guy because I cheated on her all the time 6 months before, and then I left town for a couple months to go to college. And then I came back and just like acted like nothing happened. So eventually I went to her concert and she was there with another date. and my car had just broken down. I had lost my place to live. I had lost my friends had become pieces of shit, so I had left them behind. And yeah, cheating on her was a big piece of shit thing to do, but I had stopped. I did it for like a summer where I was just like newly out of DCF custody, and I was couch surfing, and I was panicking, and I could feel like I was becoming more and more of a loser if I didn't constantly keep going. So I was lining up places for me to stay. So the girls were very attractive, and they were great people, but I did happen to bounce from house to house to house, and I was still kind of leading on a girl that I was dating in high school. Even if I had drifted and we weren't really talking, we still like, she still came over a lot, and you know, that wasn't good for anybody. But at that point, when I had lost everything, she was all I had, and then she was with somebody else. So I drove my car 90 miles an hour into a telephone pole. Just slammed right into it, and then the airbag didn't go off. And then I had like sleep paralysis while I was awake, where I just can't speak and I can't move and I can't think, and I'm just there in fear, feeling like I'm being raped all the time. And then my next girlfriend that I had became like my babysitter, basically, and she would just, eventually she had given up, so she was just driving me around out of obligation, and she would bring me to other guys' houses, and she would make me sit in the car. And I'd watch her get all dressed up in a way she'd never done for me before, put her hair down, and then go into a guy who was 5'5". She would go into a short guy's house, and she'd be in there for an hour, and I'll never know what actually happened, but I know that she made out with guys. She said that she would sext guys, but she said she didn't cheat on me, except for once, but that was the one time I caught her, so I'm assuming she's just full of shit. Because she was a liar. She was somebody that enjoyed lying, so. But it sucked for me, definitely got my karma, but then it's just been me fighting through very, very bad circumstances for coming on 7 years now. It'll be 7 years in March. I've been doing this. The first 2 years I was homeless. Well, the first 6 months I was homeless, living between my mom's and my girlfriend's house. Then I moved into a shelter. Then I moved into Section 8. And then I was in Section 8 for 2 years. Then I left early 2022, got in the car, and in that Section 8 time, I took Greyhound buses, got pandemic unemployment assistance into crypto, got a nice car, was making music every day. I ended up having to take care of a lot of people that were freaking out because of COVID, and that was like a safe place for people. So it wasn't all bad, but I would have like these breaks where I couldn't think anymore. My brain just stopped working, and I couldn't function. And then I found spirituality after the Great Conjunction in 2020, and when the world got much more spiritual because we had the portals and everything that changed the whole world, which is why things are so different than they were in 2017 when Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang was the biggest song. Now we have like Zach Bryan and Jesse Wells, and the world has really evolved since then. Thank you. But back then it would be like I'll be walking down the street and then an angel just comes down from heaven and is speaking to me, telling me how brave I am for what I do every morning, getting up in a town that thinks I'm a schizo crazy person, that they gave up on me, even though that God knows that I'm not crazy. I was just subjected to a severe form of isolation, neglect, and abuse that will drive anyone crazy. So the angel would come down and say, you're not crazy, you just need to keep going, you're actually very talented, we like hearing the music you make. I would have dreams where Nipsey Hussle comes in from spirit after he died, and he would play my song and he would tell me that he liked it, which was pretty cool. And I'd be like, that was weird, I'm not going to tell anybody that I'm having dreams that Nipsey Hussle's talking to me, or I'm seeing him when I'm like making music. I literally see his spirit, And then like 6 months go by and artists would drop songs and people were like, we really like this. And we're like, I wasn't going to release it, but I saw Nipsey Hussle come to me in spirit and tell me he liked it. So I posted it and now it's my best song. But that could just be God, because Nipsey also was a Leo and he was also King Solomon's bloodline or whatever. So there's something more to that. But then I would see aliens that would crawl out of the water. You can find the second video. If you want to see how bad it was, how bad I had gotten, because I was locked in a room. I was locked in an apartment with probably brain damage. I'm not diagnosed schizophrenic. I've been to a therapist a dozen times to make sure. Like, I'll tell them the craziest thing that I think, and they say, no, you have probably a high IQ, and you think about things at a very high level, and that takes you away from the present moment. But it's not that it takes me away from the present moment. It's because I'm not at a point where, like, my present moment day to day is like, okay, I need to clean this, maybe do push-ups, go for a walk, clean the car, and then I'm just at an impasse for there's really nothing much I can do. So I think about the high-level stuff. Because I'm a Sagittarius, man. Sagittarius, Scorpio, Ophiuchus. I do best in my life when I have a goal in front of me and I'm running towards it. It's not a problem with that. The problem is that I also, the philosophical stuff that I used to do, paired with spiritual breakthroughs and 8th house, no veil, ancestors, Native American stuff, Druidism, like the stuff that I would see out in the woods where ancestors would explain to me things, and I'd see aliens, and I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to be schizo, but then I find out that everybody sees those things. I'm not crazy for seeing blue aliens. What's the biggest movie franchise in the world? Is about blue aliens. The biggest kids show was Adventure Time. At the end, Jake the dog, like the second to last episode of Adventure Time, it's revealed that Jake the dog the whole time was a blue alien, starseed. It was not weird I'm seeing blue aliens. You look up Doja Cat Demons, she dresses herself up as a blue alien. You look at Brendan Urie, Panic at the Disco, Emperor's New Clothes, he dresses up as a blue alien. It's there. Whatever it is, it's there. I saw praying mantises, aliens, and I was like, what the fuck? And then you look up alien encounters and they're like, yep, the mantis. You see, that's what you see. I saw like beige beings with elongated skulls. And they're like, yep, those are the tall grays. Whatever they were, I saw them. I saw a 3-foot tall person that looked like he had porcupine quills all over his back, and he fucking took off through the woods and then disappeared. And I was like, what the fuck? And then you find out the natives of this land here called them Pukwudgies. And they saw him. The biggest thing that happens with a therapist, honestly, and I'm gonna walk you guys through this. Every time I go to a therapist, when I get more present to the moment, the main thing that I uncover is that I had been emasculated to a point where I lost my sexual confidence. I used to be a sex addict that all I did was just game, pick up artistry, going and talking to girls, going on dates, going on adventures. I loved women. It was my passion to get to know all these different people and have great memories and try to leave them better than I found them. And just, I really loved the idea that we had this amazing moment in time that even though I have to leave and go somewhere else on my adventure, that was giving them a better representation of how life should be, knowing that a lot of these people, like women, go through like people now, things are different, but like in the 2010s, the girls I was talking to, guys were fucking crazy. They all felt really alone. A lot of them had sexual abuse, and they didn't have any role models or didn't really have any direction in life. They didn't know what to do. and they were always really stressed. Even if they were extremely attractive, they were very like self-aggressive, like depressed and self-esteem issues. And I was just somebody that liked to go have fun on adventures. So if I was going on an adventure, I would just invite somebody and we would just be friends and talk. And if there happened to be a sexual attraction, we would hook up. And then it wasn't like a big deal. It wasn't like leaving the person and breaking their heart and moving on. It was just like, that was really cool. I'm really glad I got to meet you. This is going to be one of my like great memories that I'll look back on. And then they now know, with all the hordes of shitty people that come in, they know a reference experience to be like, okay, that guy ain't shit. Now I know what a healthy, good friend, you know, that you base the relationship off friendship first. And even though I couldn't stay and I didn't want to stay and get a job and get a house with that person, I still got to be able to experience that little bit of time. Are you sober when you saw these things? Yeah. When I smoke weed, I see cat people. I can't see cat people without weed. But when I smoke weed, I can see cat people. And then they tell me to go look in the mirror, and then when I look in the mirror, I can see that like parts of my face and stuff is actually their consciousness working with me. And then I was like, I'm never going to tell anybody that. But then you look up, okay, what's the other, the main, so I saw beige beings with small eyes, small pointed jawline, elongated skulls, wearing robes with like, it looked like Greek patterns on the robes. And like, oh, those are the tall grays. I saw blue people with like crystals on their for eyebrows. Sometimes some of them had a bunch of different eyes, some of them didn't. Some of them had feathers and spears that they would use spiritually. I saw ones with horns that would hide behind trees and be like really scary demonic stuff. And I'm like, okay, Avatar, Jake the Dog from Adventure Time, Doja Cat and Brendan Urie, Emperor's New Clothes, Begonia talked about it. It's not foreign to the human condition. And then I saw giant praying mantises, and then I asked for an alien. It was like, I'm like, if you guys are watching me, no one's gonna believe me. Just show me one. And I did say I wasn't gonna tell anyone, so I'm sorry. It's been a couple years. I already fucked up. My fault. But then I asked for aliens. I fell asleep. I woke up and there was a praying mantis on the window that didn't leave me alone for hours. So, can anyone tell this retard the Casey spiel? So I don't have to anymore. So, I mean, Jesus was a magician. He did parlor tricks. So I think God was definitely talking to Jesus. I think Jesus was God in the way that we are all God. Maybe Jesus had a little bit more because he didn't different programming or something, or different circumstance. Like, I feel like I'm a lot closer to God because I spent most of my childhood in isolation. But they make it very clear, like the Bible scene where Jesus turned water into wine, when he gives the water to the servants after he turns it into wine, and the servants bring it to the guy who is running the party, and the guy's like, we usually wait to bring out the good wine, saying that it was really good wine. But it says specifically in the Bible, the guy who ran the party didn't know how that good wine got there, but the servants did, which makes you think that they were playing a trick on the guy. And that's really important because at the end of the Jesus story, you know, think of the best magician you've ever seen, and he does a thing where you think he dies, but really he crawls under the floor and is fine. So I think that God was like, you are going to be hung up on the cross for sure. But that doesn't mean Jesus couldn't say to one of his disciples, hey, or his many followers at that point, one of them is a guard. So he's like, when they string me up on the cross, cut me down when nobody's looking, and string up a corpse. Or, once they put me on the cross, fix it so I'm going to live, and then they've already dug a tunnel into the tomb they know he's going to go into. So that once he's in the tomb, they just go through the tunnel, break him out, and they all go. And then they seal the tunnel behind them. When you don't have internet, you have a lot of time on your hands. And then other recounts of Jesus tell him having a wife and kids. I think Jesus went to Ireland afterwards. Even if he was God and he was only cast in the role of Jesus for 33 years to be this perfect embodiment, afterwards, why wouldn't you give him a life? How do people steal your energy? I don't know. But it happens. Like Elon Musk talks about electricity and how humans are funnels for electricity. Sexual energy, electricity, and then exchanging it. And then you look at chips on your phone, and the chips are the literal layouts of some cities. Like some cities are giant chips. Big giant data processing farms using our vessels as the nodes to transfer the energy between it. And then you see that they have the Masonic rituals where they harvest the life force energy. So it is real. But you have to take away the person's feeling of self-sovereignty and personal authority so that you can put them in a state of susceptibility, and then you basically just tell them that you're stealing your energy through subcommunication. And then usually the work of other entities interdimensionally are there to take your spiritual essence and try to infuse it into another vessel. Then I was just talking about the cat people. So I wasn't going to tell anybody that I got high for a couple times and I was talking to cat aliens that said they were my ancestors and that I'm a starseed. And I was like, I don't know if I believe, I was like 18. I liked playing World War II, Call of Duty, and talking to girls on my phone. I didn't want to think about any of that stuff. I didn't like it. But then they would show me my girlfriend cheating on me, and they said the next time you see her, go through her phone and you're going to find a picture. Because she was led by impulse, and we impulsively encouraged her to incriminate herself so that you would see her for who she really is, because we don't want you with her. She's a piece of trash. She was a distraction. You were never supposed to be with her. She was a reward for the suffering you went through because you had a huge crush on her, but you're not supposed to stay with her. Like you really wanted to have a relationship with her, so you're gonna have it for a week, but you're not supposed to be with her because she's not good for you. She was never good for you, which is why it never worked out. But then I ended up staying with her for 2 years, even though I went on her phone and the picture that they said was right there on her phone of a guy's back scratched up on his bed, and she had left me in her house and then went and slept with him. Later she said, because I was talking about how the spirits were telling me that they were doing that, later she said, yeah, it felt like Harry Potter Dementors had fucking attacked me afterwards. I had a panic attack. And by the way, Obama just went on a podcast and said aliens are real, but they're not in Area 51. And I've never seen them, but they're real. And the cat people are called Lyrans. Lyrans. The literal things that I saw years later, it turns out lots and lots of people see. You work, bro? I'm waiting on this job right here. Tomorrow, she talks to her supervisor to see if they'll hire me. Before, because I was top dasher, which means I was getting catering orders, I was making like $2,000 a month. But I had a gas guzzler. I had a 2008 Dodge Magnum aftermarket everything. It shit had like 10 miles per gallon. And so pretty much everything I made went right back into gas. And occasionally I could do insurance payments. I didn't really get much. Like I was surviving off of a Monster energy drink and a Black and Mild a day. Driving around playing my music, and then when I got enough money I would go to a place I knew I could use the outlet, and then I would set up the computer and I would make the songs that I had been making in my head. So now I have a bunch of really cool songs I'm happy with. So then my car got stolen. I was shopping at a Walmart, came back, and a slumlord that he owns that gas station up the road. They own like 15 gas stations. They own a bunch of apartment buildings. They own a mechanic shop in the center of town. They have political influence, and they're pieces of crap. They saw my Dodge Magnum, which was worth like $7 or $8,000, and they took it and they didn't give it back. They said I owed them $4,000 to get it back. So then I ended up helping a lot of homeless runaway kids for a while. And then I actually really liked that I'd been like running every day, waking up, door dashing, barely making any profit my whole day, and for like 8 months. So I wanted to take a break, and I really liked being out in the tent in the woods with the birds. And then I would walk around the waterfront in Burlington, which was really nice, feeding seagulls, and everyone treated me like shit, but it was fine. So I was like, there's an outlet I can use. I want to just make music for a while and enjoy what I'm learning being out in the woods. So I did that for 6 months, and then I started, all the songs that I made, I started performing at a park, at parties, and then somebody gave me their car because he said he wanted to be homeless as well, and he couldn't keep up with the insurance. And he was only surviving because he would let heroin addicts in the back seat, and he would take them to Home Depot, and they would steal a bunch of tools, and they would sell it to these nice red Republican, very wealthy carpenters would be buying all these stolen tools, and that's how they were getting money for it. So he was like, to be honest, I'm 40 and I lost my kid, and I don't like the way my life is going, so I would really like to. He said he joined a mosque. He converted to Islam, and he wanted to live in a tent outside the mosque and devote his life to learning religion. So I went and talked to the mosque, and I said, are you cool with him? He's going to be quiet. He wants to learn. He seems crazy, but then when you ask him, like, he seems like he's going off on a bunch of different stuff, like saying, my daughter's a golf ball. My daughter's a golf ball. And I'm like, okay, man. But then if you ask him about religion and Islam, he's extremely articulate, extremely intelligent. He knows what he's talking about here, and he's really trying to pursue that, and he's good at it. So I just want to let you know that's the case, and that I don't think he's a bad person at all. And he really wants me to have the car because he's, either way, if I don't get this car for free, he's going to sell it to these heroin addicts for $1,000. So I'm at an impasse here where I don't want to be the guy that takes this guy's car, but it was me and then a bunch of heroin addicts, and they were really like, he was going to sell it to them for $1,000. So then he pulled me aside and was like, I really don't want to do it, but I'd rather give you the car. So I was like, I mean, I'll take it for a week and go see my dad on his birthday. And if you want it back, let me know. And then I guess he did the mosque thing, and then I guess he went on a faith walk. And he walked across the country or something for a year. So then I started door dashing again until that car broke down, and then it was really bad. It was only really bad because somebody attacked me with a baton in a laundromat. And he wasn't like a town folk person, he was a drug dealer. But he attacked me in the laundromat. I won the fight, scared him off, with my hatchet, chased him out of the building, and the getaway driver smacked into a telephone pole, or a light post, sorry. And after that, false police reports, tons of trespasses, nobody would hire me. And I tried. I would walk 5 miles into town to the Shaws and go through all the businesses, and they wouldn't hire me. But I found this really nice place in the woods. So it was kind of like the same cycle, where I found this really nice place in the woods again, and I really liked it. And I had just been suffering, traveling, trying to make it work for the same amount of time, like 6 or 7 months, 6, 7. So I decided to stay in the woods, and then when it got too bad, I decided to walk, and I walked from, because the state police had stolen the car when they found out I was going to scrap it. They took it for themselves and sold it for themselves. And I'd gotten arrested for trespassing at a college that I wanted to go to in the fall for wildlife conservation. But I walked through one singing round dance music going, hey, 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 and then security showed up later when I was at the graveyard eating my food and said, yeah, the governor of Vermont recorded you, and said, why is this engine squawking on our property? So they sent the half-native security guard to tell me that. And then I was trespassed. And then we had a hurricane, and I went into a field, and the field happened to be owned by the same college. So as soon as this hurricane was over, I was arrested. So then I decided, fuck it. Fuck this town. They're all pieces of trash. I really liked it here, but the people make it terrible, so I'm gonna walk. And I walked a total of 250 miles, because I went all the way through Montpelier, up to through Morrisville to Johnson, and then I walked all the way to St. Johnsbury and back. And I couldn't find a job anywhere. One guy offered me a job roofing once, and then I showed up and they weren't there. But other than that, nobody would hire me. Swear to God. It's a pretty tall tale you're telling. Is any of this true? I have 2,500 videos on my channel, bro. Every single day I recorded it. Just scroll back. Bet you're glad you had shoes. Did I have shoes? I can't remember. I can't remember what I was wearing on my feet, if I'm being honest with you. I know at some point my dad had gotten me sandals, so I would wear those sandals a lot. It's on my channel, Octave. Just go look it up. Scroll back. You'll see me saying, I'm suffering from trauma, and there's a bunch of shit going on, and I'm trying to fight through and make it happen, and I'm making a bunch of this song, so I'm singing and singing, but it's trauma and police brutality and communal prejudice, and people ran me off the road, people twisted the brakes off my bike, and I crashed and had hairline fractures, police brutalities, where they used excessive force, instigating a resistance after violating my Fourth Amendment right to open the tent, and used excessive force when I wasn't resisting to mace me and put me in painful wrist locks and cuff me so tight my wrist bled and was purple on the video. And I don't blame everyone. I tell you the shit that I've been through, but also the point is that I keep going. It's literally the opposite of the freeloading bum perpetual victim. It's saying, I can't believe this shit is happening, but this is what I'm trying to do, so you can watch me continue to get up every day and do it. I get up every day and I do it. I got all my stuff here. I found a place where I could park. I got a car. You're like, you're a freeloading bum piece of shit. I'm in a fucking car. Can you believe it? Holy shit, I have a car. I went from that, screaming at crows. Someone had shot at me because I posted a testimony that the cop that arrested me with excessive force was also molesting homeless women. And I got a testimony from a homeless woman he had molested. And I posted it on the internet, and then somebody showed up and shot at me. I had basically frozen. I had like a 106 fever, negative 65, and I carried a tractor supply wagon with probably 100 pounds of shit on it, and I dragged it through a foot of snow on the rail trail 11 miles, and I sat behind a food shelf and tried not to freeze to death for a month. And I have on the channel videos of me going to ask the Dollar General, hey, I'm just looking for a job. I'm motivated. I can shower. I have food. I have a place to sleep. It's all good. I'm a hard worker. I'm just trying to save up, get a car, and find a place where I can get a piece of land to save the people from bad environments like my little brother. And then 3 months later, he died. My little brother froze to death. And they didn't hire me, man. Jose, did you say LOL to my brother dying? My condolences. He woke up and said, God said they're gonna kill me, and if I don't get away from his mom, if I don't get away from you, they're gonna kill you too. And then he fell and hit his head and froze to death about an hour later. Sounds like I had a rough upbringing. It wasn't too bad. It was just isolated. I lived, I was an only child. My little brother wasn't by blood. He was like one of my foster homes had a big brother, big sister program where one of their other adopted kids was a big brother to him. And his last name was McManus, and my last name's O'Brien. Magnus was Brian's grandson. So, and when I met him, they had both gotten us shirts that said Ireland on it. And then he started coming to my house to make music all the time. He was a local celebrity for a little bit because people loved his music, and he was, I think, 18 or 17 at the time, and he put on a concert and people were screaming his lyrics, girls were crying. But then he got into psychedelics because he thought it helped him creatively, and that made it harder for him to function. And then he decided to be homeless. So then he would stay on my couch in Section 8. Before that, growing up, I lived between Section 8, alone in my room building Legos, and I would sleep in a refrigerator box in the corner. And because I liked it. That's how I could only sleep if I felt like I was in a den. And then I would go, and my dad lived in a ski chalet for the boat captain for the DuPont family, because they were buddies as ski instructors. So I lived in an abandoned ski resort for a couple years. And then I would just bounce back between both of them. My mom couldn't really hold a place. I don't remember exactly why, just PTSD, probably cycles of leaving. So I moved to a bunch of different Section 8 apartments around the mountains. Like there was only 400 people in the town, but there was an Irish family of 9 kids, and we would all hang out all day, every day for a year. But then the parents were like, we want these homeschooled kids to go into school, and we don't want their high school to be associated with Casey because he's weird. So I think they also were very Christian, and the older brother was giving me acid a few times. And the acid didn't really mess me up. I was just more quiet because I was using my mind a lot more. So I was thinking about tons of things that I didn't used to think about. It wasn't that I was weird or I said weird things. I was just an oddball, I guess. So they were not happy that I think my mom was also harassing them that you gave my son acid. What the fuck is wrong with you? Which is fair. But to be fair, my best friend at the time, Sam, he did the same acid I did, and he went on to be special forces. But he was 6'3", I think. Big muscles, black hair, blue eyes, very attractive family. All of them were great. I had a big crush on his older sister, and I don't think he had the same social challenges I had being I think I'm 5'9" now, 5'10" with the boots. And, but back then when I was in 8th grade, I was like 5'5", so girls, and I was kind of chubby, and I had flippy hair, bangs, and I would wear a fedora, man. I would wear a fedora. But now I'm like, I kept getting drawn. I really wanted to wear a denim jacket, and I wanted to wear a fedora. And I only felt comfortable if I had the denim. There's birds flying right to left, right in front of the car. I only felt comfortable if I had a rat tail, a fedora and a fucking denim jacket. And now, if you look back at like Native American ancestors and what they would wear the fedoras, they would wear the denim jackets, and they would have the rat tail. And that's in a, I would only feel comfortable like that and sleeping in a den and being cold. And now I'm like, oh shit, my ancestors were native. Discord mods didn't even exist. I didn't even know about the trope with like autistic people and loving the fedoras and shit. I just liked it. I was getting really, like 17 years old. I was dating the baddest bitches in the school except for one. There was one girl who was captain of the hockey team, which I think arguably was better looking than the other girls. But now the other girls are way better looking than she is. She's lost her thickness, so she's now mid. But before, when she was captain of the hockey team, she was really thick. She was bad, and she liked me, but I was nervous because she was blonde, blue eyes, and very wealthy family, and it was like Lady and the Tramp, so I kind of fucked up the conversation where she wanted to walk with me and hang out with me after school and stuff, and I didn't, because I didn't think I was good enough. I thought I was gonna fuck it up because I wasn't good enough. But she did like me. You can scroll through my community posts and see the what I looked like back then. I'm 26 now, but I had a brain injury. No, I didn't have long hair back then, but I could bench 225. And I was really funny. I mean, when you're 14, you have an IQ of 145. Do you think that raises? So by 18, maybe I had 160. But then I had a brain injury. Kind of. I had like a lot of traumatic stuff happen. And weed mixed with the SSRIs didn't help. And then I had a lot of suicide attempts. Like I felt like I had lost everything, and my dreams, I had given up on them. I went to college and got certified as an audio engineer, and then came back home and was homeless. And I had been homeless since I was 14, but at that point I felt like a loser and everyone had moved on, so I had lost everything. I had been told, I don't know if it's true or not, but I had been told that one of my exes, I had gotten pregnant and she either aborted it or miscarried, so I was also, that really weighed, it just a bunch of stress added on top of each other. And my whole thing that I love to do was just drive around on adventures, thinking about things and creating from what I think about, and going on adventures and using my skills and tools that I would learn to make like memorable events in people's lives. I like to do. So I was 140. When I first had the stuff where I had to basically kill my dad because he had a lot of trauma and he would bottle things up and blow up sometimes, and he blew up one night and came at me with a hammer, grabbed me by my leg, swung me around the house, tried to drag me out and throw me in the snow and shit, and I was kicking from him and getting away, and then he went to go break everything in my room, and I picked him up and dropped him on the bed frame on accident, and he broke his hip, I think, and then he had a heart attack, and then I was taken into DCF the next day, and then I was in shelter programs and residential programs and they would put me on a bunch of different meds, and I lied to them about the acid use, so they were like, he's definitely weird. I didn't say I heard voices in my head, but I said I like to imagine my role models as literally floating next to me in my mind, because it helps reorient my behavior to be more like the people I want to be like. But what they heard is like, he's got voices in his head. It was never I was hearing voices in my head. It was that I liked Sean Spencer from Psych. So I would imagine Sean Spencer and Michael Weston from Burn Notice were just sitting in the chair, because I watched a lot of TV shows where that was like that. How many TV shows do you know where it's like, I mean, a good example is like Thor and Loki in Avengers, or maybe it's The Dark World, where Loki is astral projecting next to Thor and talking to him even though he's not even there. So that was already in my mind as like an influence that like that's possible. So I found it was better for me to create more aligned with the jokes Sean Spencer would make when he would flirt with Jules, and the cool things that Michael Weston was able to do with his spy skills. It was better for me to see life that way and operate in that character when I imagined that they were next to me. It was just better for me to act more like my role models if I imagined their character and all their traits and all that stuff. When you're like, what were the highest level of intelligent people doing back in medieval times? And they're like, oh, they had things called archetypes. That's what the Hierophant and the Emperor and the King of Wands and the Hermit and all these things. Kings, the most powerful people, the most intelligent and educated people at the time. Because people were actually wicked smart back then. You think that fucking Rome was built by dumb people? You know what I'm saying? And the people back then, arguably probably a lot more intelligent than anybody in this comment section. They would do the same shit. They would hire a hermit who didn't even have to ponder, but he just needed to look like he was pondering in the garden, because that would influence the subconscious mind to reorient their daily habits of thought. So it was better for the king, who would be studying all day in his studies, like most emperors and kings, when they weren't managing the public and doing these huge things, they were in their studies, studying and learning and being students of life. So they said that having a character to be next to them while they're doing their conscious work that embodied the idea of being very intelligent and ponderous and behavior like that would stimulate the subconscious mind to behave differently. And that's what I was doing. I was having a character to embody a certain set of operating systems so that it would constantly be a reference for me. Literally, the biggest thing in Christianity is, what would Jesus do? And they're like, you have to accept Jesus in your heart. You have to have Jesus with you. You have to have a relationship with Jesus. So I would do basically the same thing. But I couldn't articulate it as well as I can now, and I didn't have access to references and receipts of that. That's just a part of human nature for a long time, and the most educated people felt the same way that I did when I would go through my journeys of intelligence. So they put me on Depakote for a little bit, and then I got off it, and I was fine. I didn't like that they were locking me in rooms. Like when I was in programs, pretty much half the day you were locked in a room smaller than a closet. And they didn't have windows, they had plexiglass that you can't look out of, but they had a little crack, and my mom would say she would come visit, and then she never would. She did sometimes, like very later on she would, but a lot of times, even though she lived a mile down the road, she just didn't feel like it. Yeah, I already told you about that Octa 8. I was trespassed from a college. I had permission to be at the college because I had a deal with the automotive center guy that said he liked that I charged my devices there at night because people were coming to steal from the catalytic converters and shit from the automotive cars. So he liked that I was there, but then somebody from a different business, not affiliated with the college, kept coming and talking shit to me that he was going to get me trespassed from everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't bother to tell him that I had a deal with the automotive guy because I was like, hopefully people will recognize that guy's fucking weird and he's mentally ill and a bunch of garbage. In that I look like I might be mentally ill, but I'm not. I think it's like God showing you, yeah, the homeless guy, you think there's something wrong with him, but really the guy who runs the business, he's got a lot of fucking issues. That guy's pretty fucked up. You think I'm an addict because of how I look. That guy's addicted to food. He was like 300 pounds. So then I went through the college once. People walk their dogs through the college when it's summertime. There's tons of people that are just walking around with their dogs, enjoying how beautiful it is at the top of that mountain. And I walked through just to see if I liked it. But I was singing round dance music with my headphones on, like, hey, 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 practicing the leads and walking through. Went and sat at a graveyard. And then they came and said that I was trespassed. Then I escaped a hurricane because I went back to my car at the park and ride. I went all the way 5 miles into town. The guy at the thrift store said he would be willing to buy the car for scrap and give me $450. I called the state police and said, hey, thank you for letting me keep my car here. It'll be gone by Monday. Somebody's going to come buy it for scrap. Then a half hour later, I get to my car and the state police took it and sold it for themselves. Then I go back to the graveyard. Hurricane and tornado warning. I look in front of the graveyard and there's a field with a shed. I check out the shed. I'm like, okay, hurricane comes. I'm like, fuck, I can't. I was trying to sit by the graveyard. I was like, fuck, I'm just going to run to the shed. Wait it out. It'll be like 3 days. Nobody's going to come here in a hurricane. If it floods, it is what it is. If a tornado picks me up and kills me, it is what it is. At the end of the tornado warning, the guy, security shows up and says, you're going to jail, buddy. And I was like, you're fat as fuck. You think if you lost weight, you might have a better clarity of mind? Are you hiring? And the guy's like, not you. And I was like, don't you think everybody feels that way? Have I shown any sense of mental illness here? Do you think that I would be a bad employee? I've applied to this. And then I leave, and then a couple days go by, and then I'm outside another business I had permission to be at, charging my devices and meditating and trying to heal the trauma and rest and get back to a sense of comfort and peace so I could keep going and keep doing what I'm doing, trying to make a way. And then some random passerby called the cops. I'm like, there's a guy laying there. He's probably strung out on drugs. So, because of the trespassing, I was arrested. Goondad, you can find the video of that day on June 11th. You can find literally me being arrested. No, you guys are just retarded. Sorry. Stop trespassing against God, a-hole. So are you technically a felon, or did you get probation? No, after 2 years they dropped the case. They also had a charge for stealing a charger, and then the manager of that business, after the other manager that called the cops and said I stole the charger, when she got promoted, the other manager called them and said, yeah, she was lying. He didn't steal that charger. She made it up. Actually, what I think they did is I bought the charger, and then they refunded me the money, and then they called the cops and said it was stolen. Because the money, you can see on Cash App, the money was taken from my card, and then it's lined out, which means that it got voided. So I was charged, because I remember I couldn't get phone service because I bought the charger, and I was like, fuck. But then the money came back into my account. So what the manager did is when she was looking through the camera, called them and said, refund that. And then called the police and said he stole the charger. And they didn't even bother to ask me for the Cash App. They just charged me and didn't even bother to do anything about it. So I would have to argue with the courts about it. So then after 2 years, with that guy's testimony saying, yeah, she was full of shit, they just dropped everything. I got no charges and warrants or anything for that. But one time the lawyer, I think I had a text now number, and I had gotten a phone number because I got service, and then I texted the lawyer on my new phone number and said, hey, this is my new phone number for the WebEx. And because he wasn't sending it to my email for some reason, he was sending it to the text number. Maybe it was easier for him. I think because he says he sent it to me. He swears he sent it to me, but he also knew my new phone number, and he had acknowledged that I had a new phone number, and I never got the WebEx. So I don't know, because the guy would also, even though he was a public defender, he would also go up to the judge and say, well, this isn't his first charge. And I was like, come on, man. So after 2 years of that lawyer's bullshit, I told him, just resign. Just drop the case. I'm sick and tired of you. I'm sick and tired of the way you treat me. I'm sick and tired of this courtroom. Fucking find somebody else. And then they found somebody else, and then immediately, whatever the public defender was like, you know this is bullshit, right? Then the judge just dropped the case. What's on my record is violations of conditions of release, because part of that when you go through the court system is like you can't engage in criminal behavior. And then it was another instance of trespassing, or missing court is technically a crime. So violations of conditions of release is the only thing on my record, which is preventing me from going to FedEx, preventing me from working at I've applied to 60 jobs at this point. And the only people that are interested in hiring me that have gotten back to me and that don't ignore me when I go back to check in with the manager is this gas station right here, who's going to talk to the supervisor tomorrow. And if that doesn't work out, I'm out of options. You're a scammer? Why? I think your reticular activation system is guided towards feeding your addiction to pride. So you're trapped in looking for reasons to hate when there is none. Thought criminal doesn't believe that the prison industrial complex is a business that makes profit, and that they don't profit off of numbers and crime statistics to perpetuate the idea of a homeless crisis so that they can keep putting federal funding into their nonprofits. Pick up cans and take them to a recycling place like a normal bum. I did that for a little bit, and then I would put the money into crypto, and I turned 30 cents into 30 bucks. Because I 10x'd a meme coin and then pulled out, and then I 10x'd another meme coin and pulled out. And then Demon Hunter sent me 250. I turned it into 2,500, and I can show you the computer fried because I was running it in the middle of like Sub-Zero outside and fucking. But I did get it. It was the FAM token. It did 10x, and I did not take it out in time. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I turned 250 to 2,500, and then I lost it, man. But I did go from cans to 2,500. Swear to God. And that is, you can call me a scammer for that, because it is. Meme coins is just taking kids' money. Meme coins is putting out enough advertisements that you think it's going to blow up and just getting in the meme coin before other people put their money in. And then once all that money's in liquidity, then you just pull out their money. So it is stealing candy from babies. I never did any hard drugs. Why would you? Like, Eric Weinstein went on Joe Rogan and said, with mathematics, you can make yourself higher than heroin will ever make you. And that's kind of what I ended up probably doing, is driving myself into euphoria through philosophy. Yeah, it's probably good I lost that money and it went to somebody else. And then they probably got pretty heavy karma from that. It probably was wrong to take money from kids knowing that it was a scam. So, and if I had gotten that money, I would have gotten another car and gone right back into the same cycle of door dashing, trying to make music. But instead I went out in the woods, and I found a cabin in the woods, an abandoned sugaring shack on a piece of land that people have been going to for 100 years and hanging out with their buddies. So I stayed there. And it was really nice. And that's all on my channel. You guys are losers if you haven't figured it out. There's nothing I do you could be mad at, man. I like Elric. I keep some of the haters. Elric is one of the haters that I keep on the channel, because he helps my algorithm. You seem rather harmless, but kind of crazy. Well, maybe you just don't have the experiences I've had. So it's hard to understand. You're there for a while, you could have cleaned it up. I did. When I first got there, you can see it was covered in dirt. It was like a flood had washed dirt over the entire thing. So I took a hoe and I fucking scraped all the dirt out of that and cleaned it with bleach. And then dirt definitely comes back in with storms and tracking it in and stuff, but I would sweep, made it nice, bleached the walls and everything to get the mold out. There was a family of robins that moved into the corner, so I left them trash there so that they had a comfortable space, because when I cleaned the trash, they didn't feel comfortable enough to come back. But it wasn't really trash either, it was just like, it used to be a sugaring house and a mill and a bunch of stuff, so there was a bunch of like rusty metal and shit buried deep into the ground out there. And I tried to get as much of it as I could. And I did clean up all the trash I left, and I put it into contractor bags, but then I was driven off the property, and then I came back and animals had gotten into it all. So then the property owner, eventually he was from New Jersey, and he's like, I'm selling it to somebody, so you can't be here. And I was like, all right, man, let me just get my stuff off the property. Because when you go around that town and you ask, where can I go? They say, people have been going there for 100 years. I think it'd probably be better knowing the whole spiel. Like, the good people say, they know that I don't do drugs or commit crimes and that I'm just in an unfortunate situation. So good people are actually very happy to have me, because I double as like overnight security, because there's a lot of pieces of crap out there. Like, the automotive center liked that I was charging my phone there at night, because there are people coming to steal parts from the cars. People liked that I was outside the Dollar Tree at night, because there were other people that would show up and they would shoot up heroin and shit back there, and they would crawl on the roof and leave a bunch of beer cans and shit. So they knew if I was there, there'd be less likely of a chance for something actually bad to happen. People are talking shit. If I had a job, I could do $300 a month on my own piece of land, man. You were scamming to steal stuff? No. I never even did it. One time there was a guy who would go shoot up heroin at Oakledge Park in Burlington, and then he would go into the bathroom and he would jerk off. And one time a kid walked in and saw him. So, hell yeah, I took his bike. And if I would walk into like a Shaw's or a Price Chopper, and I would say, hey, do you guys need overnight stalkers? And he was like, talking about, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll put the application in. Do you mind if I know you're going to throw out all this chicken and ravioli at night. Do you mind just putting it in a bag on top of the recycling bin, and then tonight I'll come get it, because I just don't have food and I'm hungry and I'm trying to work. And one time at one Market 32 in Morrisville, the guy said, get the fuck out of here, junkie. He said, get the fuck out of here. And then when he turned away, he said, junkie. And then stomped away. Fat piece of shit. So hell yeah, I would, if it was going to be thrown out in 20 minutes, I would just go in and take the chicken, and nobody ever got mad about it. If they were mean to me, I would go take a rotisserie chicken from the Shaw's. But I would wait till 5 o'clock when they throw it out, and at like 4:50, I'd just walk out with a couple rotisserie chickens, and nobody ever cared. Nobody bothered me about it. It's one of the things where if you ask them, they'll be like, no. But if you do it, they're like, it's whatever. It's going to go in the trash anyway. If I would go into a Walmart and I had food stamps, but the people would follow me through the Walmart expecting me to steal, then I would just pocket a fucking, the Mio waters. I would get like 3 fucking jackets on, and I'd walk in and just pocket a bunch of chocolates and Mios, and I'd go have it. But that was in 2022. My first few months of homelessness, before I had food stamps. And I would just buy a gallon of water for $1 from the dollar store, go get a bunch of Mio. What excuses, man? There's no excuses. One hell of an endorphin rush. It was pretty fun. But it was only it was only the people that would treat me like shit. I'm diagnosed with severe CPTSD, so I'm not eligible to join the army. I've tried. The guy that's talking shit is now trying to qualify himself that he's a cooler criminal. Look at that, it was all about jealousy the whole time. Who would have thunk? Jose spelled, he's talking shit, but he used the wrong right. You know, it takes a lot of, it takes more work to write W-R-I-T-E than it does R-I-G-H-T, and you still spelled it wrong. So, I don't care about you guys. You're haters. Hey, hitting my deer like a round drum. Undocumented workers provide $389 million profit annually to the economy. And they also pay $90 billion in taxes because some of them do have jobs that are legal and pay income tax. And they have to buy things while they're here. So they pay big corporations, motels, and there's taxes on that stuff. So they pay $90 billion in taxes every year, and they also contribute $389 billion to the economy every year. And they're not eligible for government benefits. They're not eligible for SNAP or Medicaid. Yeah, they pay sales tax. They contribute $90 billion in taxes. And also, by having undocumented workers, they profit $389 billion a year. Seems more like you're living off of their work. They're not living off of your work. Ain't that crazy? And not all homeless people are the same. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to waste a third of your income for a box you sleep in, but you can't spend any time in because you go to work. I don't like say I worked and bought a house for $40,000 somewhere in the middle of nowhere with there's no mountain views and the trees all look the same and I don't like the people there, but it's a cheap house and now I'm a homeowner. And you're like, you won, you did it, you worked hard and got your own thing. But I'm like, yeah, but the time I would spend there is miserable. I wouldn't like to be there anyway. I like being here where it's beautiful. Because I spent so long on the ground, I love being in the car. The only problem with being in the car is when these nut job, obese, inbred pig people show up to cause drama. Usually just because they're unhappy in their own life. Like if I'm parked at the Department of Fish and Wildlife Access, and now all of you guys are parked at the Department of Fish and Wildlife Access, but you're going fishing and I'm just enjoying the view, what's the problem? I'm not taking somebody else's parking spot. What do you think about crop circles, Bigfoot, aliens? There are definitely interdimensional beings that can manifest physically or appear more physically through the control of the Higgs field, and they can operate in and out. There are things that have like active camouflage where they can go invisible when they feel like it and then reappear visible. There's also, if they're supposedly technologically advanced, wouldn't be hard to have like a nanotech vest that just has cameras under projectors and it's like a screen that looks invisible, but they're not, they're just reflecting and using a AI to create and generate the appearance of everything around it, like a mirror almost, but not reflecting, more like creating, so it looks like they're invisible, but they're not. And something that with that nanotech capabilities, they could also do temperature changes to just in real time monitor the temperature of the area and then reflect that in the suit that makes them invisible to thermal. So at the very least, a cool story I'll say is that I was behind the Capitol building in Montpelier and I was really depressed. I was laying there, couldn't really function. Really, it was a lot of work to just get me up and then get me walking. So I was just trying to rest so that I could recuperate and get back into the fight of looking for jobs and making music and enjoying life. And then I wake up and I feel like I'm hiding under a tarp. There's slugs all over me and I'm hiding under a tarp behind the Capitol building, waiting for people to get back to me about if I could work as a carpenter's helper or something. So I'm just waiting there, doing the Wi-Fi, making content, live streaming. And then I wake up one morning and I feel like there's something that's like 7, 8 feet tall, big. And it did the smack with like bump, bump, bump on a tree. And I know for a fact that it couldn't have been a woodpecker. That was something I heard the noise of it picking up a log and hitting the tree, but I look and I don't see anything at all. And then I lay back down and I'm like, I'm not going to deal with it. Nope, no way. And then I hear it step right. There's like the trail that goes behind it. And then there's a bunch of rocks. And then I hear it walk over to the tree and immense strength knocks the tree over. The tree falls and doesn't hit me, but it really could have. Falls, and I was like, that's crazy, why did it do that? And then I go up there and there's a tarp there, like a blue tarp, and I'm like, that's crazy, there wasn't a tarp here. I only heard that thing, but I did fall asleep after that. So I have the tarp, and then we had a freak sudden thunderstorm flood that flooded a lot of places, and I did thing. My phone would have gotten ruined. Everything I owned would have gotten ruined. I didn't have anywhere to go. But because that tree fell and I had the tarp, I was able to put the tarp over the tree, and I have a video of that. The whole thing's on video recorded. 2024 in August. Where I magically got a tarp, magically the tree fell, because I saw something that was invisible but big, like they say Bigfoot is, knock over a tree. That same week, I think, maybe the week after, around the Lionsgate portal, I literally go, universe, please get me a red and black specialized bike. And then within 24 hours, I'm walking down the street and there's a broken up piece of crap, but really nice, expensive, specialized bike. I call the police and say, can you see if this is stolen? I put it on Facebook and say, hey, I have this bike. If you can tell me I found a red and black bike that has this registry on it. It's got like this tag that has a number. If you can tell me that number or tell me the brand of the bike, it's yours. So nobody reached out. The cop said it wasn't stolen. So then I got exactly what I asked for. And then I left that town and moved on because I got the bike. I asked the universe to help with a specific thing, and I got it. What do you think about gang stalking? I think that people don't have an awareness of what's going on in the electromagnetic spectrum. And I think that it's evident if you look at all of the original cultures having beliefs about their creation being helped by the star people, and people naturally should have a way more vivid, exponentially beautiful conscious experience on this planet. And you can find evidence of the constant perpetual destruction of that original state of being by people that capitalize off of serfs and slaves. So they drove them into an unconscious, not having the knowledge necessary or the ability to gain that greater aspect of spirituality and essence and harmony with ancestors and other beings in the infinite astral projections of beings from other planets or stuff, or other realms of consciousness, but you can find that everybody has a belief of some kind too, that there's more. There's too much evidence of it, and the evidence all lines up. If you look at the things people create, the same stuff that people are seeing in spirit, they create, like Stranger Things with the Mind Flayer and the Flesh Monster being the ego system, and all this stuff that you can find proof of there being more esoteric truths going on that people can find, but they can't really find and function in society with, because society's literally made to not be able to have that. With gang stalking, I think that there are people, I think it's three different things. I think it's that people, yes, there could be people that are making something out of nothing. But also I believe in that something out of nothing, that it's impossible to have something out of nothing because of the proof of orchestration from a higher intelligence that we don't have access to, but we are from, and that we gain closer to. But we're not supposed to understand the infinite, because we're here in the finite to enjoy the finite, and how unique and personalized and different that finite experience can become. But there is guidance from the infinite or higher level intelligences that guide you along this journey for different purposes. Some people are here just to enjoy it by the beach and get laid by bad Costa Rican bitches. Some people are here to build an army and go up against an evil force. Some people are here to make content, make music. Some people are here to get a job and work and enjoy the fruits of their labor with their family. It's all different, and that's the beauty of it. But you're not supposed to be that close to the creator, but there are people that do have those types of roles, those types of connections. Gang stalking is more like, in that chaos and order, in that interplay, there are forces. Whether those forces are there to challenge you, because that's part of why you're here, or whether those are forces that are keeping this perpetuating. Say like the Capricorn government working with the entity that people in Silicon Valley say that they do rituals to commingle with, and that helps them with their technocratic advancement. You can find people from Silicon Valley going on Tucker Carlson and saying, yes, it is a Satanist sort of thing, where they talk to something that isn't benevolent, that is in another realm, that communicates through ritual, blood magic, stuff with kids, the stuff that you see politicians doing, Masons doing. And you can find that in Masonic artwork and stuff. Like Ari Aster's a Mason, and he had Beau is Afraid as the Ouroboros 33 cycle, talking about the soul's journey through with this truth about reality. Hereditary is going into more Masonic Satanist agendas. Like in Hereditary, part of being 33rd degree Masonry is when you marry a child, and then you try to, once you have stolen the child's essence, then they try to take children and embed them with the soul of an ancient king and force a reincarnation. That's why you see bloody children's mattresses being taken out of the Jew tunnels, because they're doing blood magic rituals to try to infest the child's body with the incarnated essence of an ancient Masonic king. And that's what Hereditary was about. That's what they're doing. Is trying to give vessels to an extra dimensional intelligence, and they talk about that Silicon Valley is doing it. That's why CERN has those statues, and you can see videos of people doing CERN, which is the wild god Cernunnos, which is a positive representation of Gaia, whereas Baal and the bull and the beast is a negative representation of the same thing. So, gang stalking, people that get a higher awareness, have a higher spiritual essence, have a higher connection to spirituality, but don't necessarily have the keys or the environment or the way to bring what they're learning, their spiritual gift, into a theosophy and into something creative, and then they're seen as a gifted, intelligent person. Instead, they are trapped in the gauntlet, and that energy that they're producing, that signal, is valuable to demonic entities and creatures. And I think that with people in an unconscious state, they don't know what is guiding their impulses. So if you're in a store, for me specifically, like I would meditate for a long time, I would get this righteous fire or whatever, I would be creating this amazing song, and I'm going into the store to Instacart, and I'm on my mission, and with that I have a lot more focus, I have a lot more charisma, confidence, I looked good, girls liked me, I was dressed in Tim's and a chain. And what I find is, as soon as I enter the space, I would see random strangers go and twitch and stare at me, and I would feel a tug, like a spiritual trying to harvesting of it, and then the guys would follow me through the store stomping and just twitching and doing this. You can find videos on my channel of like cops doing it where they're spitting and twitching and whatever. If you spend your life outside and you walk around and see people and actually people watch, you'll see that that's happening. If you don't have that spiritual understanding, I have to assume that you're retarded, that there's something really wrong with you. If you're not going in public and feeling energy at this point, maybe it's your state. At least in my state, everybody's feeling it. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's in on it. They're doing stuff. They talk about the ecosystem and spiritual harvesting and social status and hierarchies, and the kids are in on it. They're talking about aura maxing, aura farming, your aura, you know, quantum riz is what kids are saying now. Quantum rizics, using quantum physics with your riz to spiritually game women. That's what the kids are doing now. If you don't have it, it could just be residual from the time you were in Pisces. Maybe you're older, like over 40, and you don't have the software updates, and you've been institutionalized and educated by the Masonic propaganda in the dark waters, where you really believe that the news was real, and you really believe that Oprah wasn't a pedophile. You saw Ellen DeGeneres rub child's foreskin on her face while they're talking about the pizza parties, and you were like, you thought Adam Sandler was just talking about a pizza party. And you made nothing of Ellen DeGeneres rubbing children's foreskin on her face and going, this keeps me young forever. It's my foreskin cream. Where'd the foreskin come from? What the fuck? So gangstalking, I think it's spiritual. When you get to spiritual, you're like, there's no way to... I'm at an impasse. Like, I know for a fact you could find all over my channel, especially if you go to early 2024 and then you go back to when I first got this car and I was going live. You could find that every single time I went into this parking lot. So I would be in the woods for weeks, and then I would leave the woods and I would go to this park and ride, and I would record a YouTube video. And every time I left the woods and started recording the YouTube video, this red truck would show up and then turn around and then slowly drive away. And it was the same red truck with tinted windows, and you can't see who's inside it. And I'm like, there's no reason for that truck to be doing that. And if it's just that he showed up and he didn't like me, because maybe he's like, oh, this guy's here, I don't want to sit here. So he turns around and leaves. At the very least, what the fuck is that timing? Perfect timing that as soon as I exit the forest after walking 3 football fields length through the mountains, and I get out into the forest, and then the guy shows up. At least you have to acknowledge the timing of that is really weird. How it was over and over again. And then when I go live with my car, and I pull into the lot of the same park and ride, as soon as I hit park, and I'm on live the way that I would a year and a half prior, that same truck does the same exact thing it would do in the videos. You have stuff where I'm having a conversation with a guy in a thrift store where he starts talking about the Satanist stuff and whatever, he's interested in it. So I am just standing in the corner of the thrift store and saying, yeah, it's really weird that my dad was involved with the DuPont family, which is one of the 13 elite families. And I would go to their mansion once, and I went on their yacht once, and my dad would go in the summer or the winters or sometime. He would go with them on the yacht from Cape Cod to Miami sometimes. And it was weird that he was a ski instructor before that, carpenter and electrician, but he got involved with them somehow. And it's weird that I'm a 33 life path, born on the 11th, which is almost impossible. And then to have my astrology be the Ophiuchus, Sagittarius, Scorpio, stellium, and then Aquarius, moon, stellium, where all my planets are just Sun, Mercury, Pluto, Sagittarius, Ophiuchus, Scorpio, 8th house. And then all of my other planets are Moon, Mars, Aquarius, Neptune in the 10th house of Aquarius. Moon, Mars, Uranus, Neptune in Aquarius, 10th house. And then I'm only a Taurus rising after that, which is really specific. Usually people have ones all over the place, but for mine to be that specific, to be the elder tree constantly reviving in the harshest experience, exalted on a hill with authority as a public figure. And then my name means Acacia O'Brien, the tree of life, the elder tree, the world tree, the most powerful name in Freemasonry, the tree of life, Yggdrasil, this constant growth of purity, no matter what the world does to it. And then O'Brien means exalted on a hill with authority, which is what my astrology is, and my numerology, and my name. It's weird. that it all lines up so perfectly. And then the stuff with that supposed ancient cult, one of those ancient bloodline families, was heavily involved with my childhood for some reason. It's weird. And then I leave for like 2 weeks. I come back, and where I was standing in the thrift store has been replaced with a podium that has a Hess truck that says DuPont on it, 24, which adds up to 6, like 33. So DuPont 24, which adds up to 6, 33 adds up to 6. So DuPont 6. And they placed it right where I was standing when I told him that. And I asked the guy who runs the thrift store, I was like, did your employee put that there? And he said, no, somebody I've never met came in with it and said it should go there. So I was like, okay, I'll put it there. They gave me that truck and the thing, so I put it on the stand because they had said it would look cool there. And there was nobody in the thrift store when I was talking to the guy. Nobody overheard me saying it. Nobody knew where I was standing. There was some other things, like I would be sitting alone by myself, and I was thinking about, what should I do for 2026? What should I do for 2026? I'm kind of getting through the woodland journey. I'm learning a lot of stuff about being in the woods. I really like this wilderness trail I'm going through. Even though it's suffering and it's horrible, it's amazing and it's different, and I'm learning a lot about, and I'm individuating uniquely. There's so much stuff going on. And then I was like, what if I went to Ireland? I was like, universe, I'm thinking about going to Ireland, and I know there's on the coastline of Ireland, in some of these small places, there are abandoned stone houses that nobody lives in, and I bet nobody would mind if I went and said, hey, I'll make it better if you let me stay here and just experience Ireland, because I'm O'Brien, it's my ancestry, and I'd like to see it, and maybe I'd like to live here or something in the future. Maybe I just trust the universe that things would work out. Even if I went to Ireland and that didn't work out, I might find a cool opportunity somewhere else and go on a different adventure. But I was thinking about moving into an old stone house. And then I wake up and I drive 45 minutes to go to take a shower. Then I go to Walmart. When I leave Walmart, something's like, you should go to Price Chopper. Like, I just feel like I should go get some ravioli for Price Chopper. So I go in, and as I'm going in, some guy follows me in. Not like following me, but like he's behind me walking in. And he goes, and he like lunges forward. And I thought, part of me was like, maybe he fell, maybe he's sick. But part of me was like, he was like coming at me. He was way too close when he fucking coughed and stomped at me. I don't like that. And then I'm walking through I don't look back at him, I don't do anything, I just keep walking, and I'm walking through the aisles, and then I look over, and I swear to fucking God, the guy that did that is at the edge of the fucking aisle, and he's looking like this. Staring me right in the eyes. So I freeze like this, and I'm just staring at the guy, and the guy is frozen, staring at me like this. See, when I said there's an energetic pull, the thing reconnected. When I was talking about the spiritual stuff. I reorient the focus, and I'm like, I'm going this way. Okay, I'm leaving. And then he fucking follows me through the aisle. I walk and turn to the other aisle. I look back, and the guy is fucking doing it. He's staring at me through the thing. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm clean. I have nice fucking clothes on. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I might have taken the bus. I don't think I had the car back then. I might have taken the bus down there, but that definitely happened, swear to God. And then as I'm about to go put my stuff on as I'm checking out, there's a problem with my card for some reason. So the stuff is still on the self-checkout. I haven't paid yet. And I need to go talk to the service worker and bring it back. So when the service worker comes back with me, and I'm about to go put my card in, the guy cuts right in front of me and just stands there, posted up with his back turned to me, and just stands there. He's not even checking out or anything. He's just standing there. So I just went, hey, bro. And then he goes, what's your favorite story? I like the one about the old stone house. And then he leaves. Can you explain that? That morning I had a conversation with God about living in an old stone house, and that I think that would be the best story for me for the Casey story. That's where I would like my life to go. And then I don't even want to go to that store, but I feel like I should. And then through the entire store, there's a fucking guy staring at me, following me through the store. As soon as I got in there, he coughs and stomps at me. And then he cuts me off at the register, and the only thing he says to me, as soon as I don't even say like loud, I'm just like, hey man, because I thought he thought that the register was open or something. I don't know what it was. I always try to just not acknowledge the crazy stuff. I'm just trying to be normal as I go through my life, and if the crazy stuff happens, I keep it in the backlog to explain later when I figure out what was going on. When I have these everyday crazy stuff, I don't treat it as if it's crazy. I treat it as like it's normal and weird, and I go through my day-to-day so I can function and do the stuff. But then as it compounds and I get more evidence and I see the overarching story of how weird it was, then I explain it. Like, I wouldn't have told anybody about the 3-foot-tall porcupine man if I didn't 6 months later talk to a native person about it, and he says, look up Pukwudgies, and then I look, and it's a 3-foot-tall porcupine man that the Native Americans have been seeing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years at least. You know, when I have the crazy stuff, I don't do too much about it. If it keeps happening, I'm like, there's something there. But then when I find more reputable proof of the existence of that thing, then I explain it. If it's just like I see a weird stick bug bacteria monster that's after me in the metaphysical, I ignore it. I block it. I'm like, that's weird. Probably just some fucking weird bullshit. But then the back rooms becomes the most popular thing in the world, and it's about the bacteria stick bug monster chasing you through another dimension. So like, maybe it's prophetic, maybe it was an actual thing, maybe it was AI, maybe I was in tune with Kane Pixels and his creative space. Maybe I picked up on something. Maybe Kane Pixels lives in the area and drove past me and I picked up on his idea. I don't know what it was. Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe it was just telling me this is going to pop off in the future. I don't know. But when I have something, I only talk about it if something else lines up. Maybe we both saw the same thing, and that was the way God was describing a interdimensional bacteria intelligence that attacks you in a created liminal out of reality thing, and the point is to get you before you get to heaven. I don't know, but I can tell you that the thing, when they line up, I explain it. So for the guy to cut me off, not even try to do anything, and he was fat and old, so the explanation, it could be a gang stalker with some type of technology to hear my thoughts. It could be somebody who's completely unconscious and is being piloted by an entity that was picking up on my thoughts, and that guy had completely lost touch and had gotten hijacked. It could be God and an angel, and we're in a simulation, and that guy wasn't even real, and I just believed he was real because we're convinced that what we see from our eyes is real, even though we know we only see 0.0001% of the electromagnetic spectrum, and that there's so much shit going on we have no idea because we literally physically can't perceive it, but animals can, and bugs can, trees can. I don't know. So that's my explanation for gangstalking, is that I don't know, but I have evidence that there is truth to that. Thanks, Stephen Hunter. There's truth to it. You can find a video of me walking past a parking lot and saying, I just saw me in an SUV, a black one, and I don't know why. I've never been in an SUV. I've never even parked in this parking lot. And then like 3 months later, I'm in an SUV in that parking lot. There's more going on. So when a gang stalker is, like, from my own experience, I can tell the gang stalkers that are actually seeing something and that aren't. I think it's probably a Truman Show. Like, at this point, I feel like it's a Truman Show. I feel like there's a secret society that's got a lot of people. Like, how many Satanists in South Africa alone? Like, South Africa is a Can somebody figure out if South Africa is bigger or smaller than Vermont? It's probably bigger. There are 20,000 Satanists in South Africa, I know for sure. There's a church right here. 2 doors down is the Satanist church. There are Satanists here. And Satanists believe a whole bunch of stuff that you would think is crazy. But there's so many of them. They could be targeting people. When it comes to people saying, like, gang-stalked individuals going up and confronting people they think are gang stalkers, and then the guy breaks down crying and says, yeah, I am, I'm sorry. I am. I'm sorry. They pay a lot. And then just goes right back into what he's doing, and then they find videos of that guy following them around again, where it's not like he was bullshitting. He was telling the truth. And they pay through a third-party thing, through gift cards, and they pay up to $1,000 a week, and they target people that have legal evidence that could threaten law enforcement. Or they go after people that have Rh negative blood. And you find out about bloodlines and shit. There's 8 billion people on Earth. It doesn't seem too far-fetched to think that 1,000 of them are in a secret society using some of these trillions of dollars with some type of scientific, psychological experimentation. But then when you get to the fact that extra-dimensional intelligences don't need to operate through space and time, so that it could be the same entity hijacking people, and they can do it at the same time to a bunch of different people all the time. Like, I read this book that somebody gave me about channeling, and they talked about an experience with Archangel Michael, and the way they described the experience is exactly the way that I experienced the exact same thing when I was 22. The same color of the energy of the angel, the same exact way that it described the meeting of that angel. I had that before I knew anything about this stuff. So the answer is there's evidence of something, and I don't know what it is, but I don't knock the possibility that anything is possible. So then I just look at it like a scientist. What evidence do I have to pull from? And the more evidence I can find of it with an unbiased stance, not trying to make something out of nothing, but just looking at it objectively, I think that's the right word, right? You can see that there is something. And I think that what God seems to be doing now is showing off the abilities it can do to make miracles happen. Things that are so like somebody giving me this red stone cardinal, and then somebody telling me to go to a church, and then I go to the church, and then when I get to the church, I get a notification for a tarot video. I open the tarot video, and he says the totem animal is a red tree squirrel. And then as I park, I hear a noise, and I look, and there's a red tree squirrel staring at me right afterwards. And then it runs away, and then it describes 33 and the Casey stuff. And then I go in, and the guy helps me get just enough money to get to the place I wanted to go to. And he didn't know exactly how much gas, but he gives me just enough in gas that I ran out of gas here. And I only went here because I was like, should I come here? And then a cardinal flew right to left in front of the car. And then I get here, and there's nobody here. So I call, and they say, you should go to this other place. So I ask, can I get a bird again? And then a red-tailed hawk flies right above the car and lands right there in that tree and is staring at this gas station, and then turns back to me, looks back to the gas station, looks back at me. I'm like, are you sure? And then another one flies, and then they're both looking at the gas station, and they're both looking back at me. So I'm like, okay, there's something to there, but I'm like, I can't be here because I don't know if it's okay. I don't know the people here. So I drive another hour, run out of gas, have to get another handout, but I meet a bunch of cool people at church, and they help me with $30 to get back at least, or to keep going to find, because I have this mission to end homelessness. I have this idea. I'm looking for carpenters and churches to help with, or I'm looking for like congregations that might have a wealthy person that has a spare piece of land somewhere, and they can see that I'm righteous and I'm working and I'm trying to do this, and I just need a place where I can get to the next level of what I'm doing. So like putting a home gym there, and eventually maybe a good relationship with the owner, paying off the property, and now I can pay like monthly, finance it at a rate lower with no interest, so that the people who were just going to sit on that property forever are now making passive income. Even if it's a little bit, they have enough to go out to dinner on date night every month or something. I could, with the money I would pay, you know, something like that. Like anything is possible, and I just try to be as good of a person as I can, and I have a righteous path I'm trying to do. So, you know, I'm just looking for stuff like that, and usually everyone says no, sorry. But when I get to that small city, which is one of my favorite places, I really love that place, I find that there's a property, a piece of land, an acre for $10,000. Cheapest land I could find in a place that I really like, which is really cool. At that point, I was like trying to do FedEx, but then FedEx said nope, because you have criminal trespass on your record, so you can't work for us, sorry. And then I drive around looking for more jobs. I applied to another 20 jobs, and they all said no. But when I got to that small city where I found that land, the mascot for the college is cardinals. So the stone cardinal, the cardinal, get there, and then I'm like, I don't know if I should be here. Turn a corner, and then there's just the cardinal flags, cardinals everywhere. And then a week before I got that stone cardinal, the day before I got that, the day after I got that stone cardinal. Wait. Yeah, I had the stone cardinals, then I was overnight talking to them, and then I left. So the night after I got the stone cardinals, and then I left the next day to come here. And I went to that church. I went to that church that night. So it was all in a span of like 15 hours. But I got the cardinals. Then when I went to this overnight shelter just to see if it was like, talk to the volunteers, see if they needed help with anything. And I had a conversation with a Christian woman who said that every time her family members passed, a cardinal would come to the window. And then there was a bunch of cardinals in that, like paintings of cardinals in that church 200 miles from that city. So I was like, that's crazy, because I just got these cardinals. I think it's representative of change, right? And she's like, I think so too. That's what the sign means. And then the cardinal journey going here, cardinal here, all the cardinals. And that's where I found the land for 10 grand, which is pretty affordable. I could get it by this summer at least. Which means I would be no longer suffering trying to find land, and I would be able to be in the same position I am now, but I'll have a storage. I'll have a place if I ever want to stop and just go to, I can go to. And then I can continue growing from there. That way, when I'm here, it's no longer you fucking loser, freeloading bum junkie. It's now, hey, I'm on an adventure. Mushrooms is a conscious entity, and in order to give you that breakthrough, it goes through and grows over your neurological pathways. And in order for it to do that, if there's something in your brain that it doesn't like, it just deletes it from your software, and you have no idea what they deleted because it's gone and been replaced by the psilocybin. That's why I don't like mushrooms. You can get to the same spiritual experiences naturally through individuation and compounding experience to grow, and your soul is much stronger, whereas mushrooms tend to take. But it is very good to completely break your veil and let you become immediately connected with nature. The way that if you look at Ant-Man, the third Ant-Man, where the villain is KC, Kang the Conqueror, when Ant-Man is in the quantum realm, and there's that alien that you drink from the juice, and once everybody's drinking from that substance, they're now able to telepathically communicate. The same way as that mushrooms is like something you ingest that's already in all of the animals, and once you ingest the psilocybin for a brief period, if you choose to forget because it's overwhelming and impossible to function in society, and you don't want to be like Radagast, you'd rather be like Gandalf or whatever, you can telepathically communicate with the animals through electromagnetic stimulation to open up your sense of empathy, to have a response and monitor the change, because all of your senses are monitoring the change from your baseline. You get cold because the temperature changes. When it's freezing cold for a long period of time, you're not cold because the temperature doesn't change. So when you ingest a drug like that, the destruction of your brain cells, the fight, and then the change, it gives you an extra sense to monitor a change at a level where your brain is more open to be perceptive of that area of the electromagnetic spectrum. And then the telepathic communication, you're able to monitor the change going on. So when the other person's emotional state and the animal's thoughts and the songs that they're singing, you have a way to tune yourself to it, and you can perceive the changes and that response. The playing of the string theory is that telepathic response that you can pick up on. That's how you can see what people really are. You can actually selflessly break out of the creation that you've created, that you are living inside, and to be able to monitor the truth and then the changes of that. But the high that you get from those things is the destruction of your brain cells and the fighting off of the sickness of that toxin. It's trying to get back to baseline. So it is not healthy, and you can find it naturally. I don't think microdosing is the answer. I don't think that ayahuasca trips are the answer. I think that having a foundational understanding of quantum mechanics and then spending a lot of time in isolation in the woods by yourself, meditating, sensory deprivation chambers maybe, and then that way you have a more competent, disciplined routine where you can constantly build upon your education rather than having forced breakthroughs that might drive you into something you're not ready for or comfortable with, which results in a huge degradation of self that you perceive as selflessness, but really it's putting you in a vulnerable state that makes it easier for interdimensional entities, electromagnetic stimulation, things to hijack you. And that's why you have people like Owen Cook that say that when he gets to his spiritual level, his high magnetic state with Christ consciousness, and he starts to soar more into the divine and everything, he says that his friends that have done mushrooms literally collapse on the floor speaking in tongues. And I've had stuff like that in my life a lot. I have the same thing, and it's because they went too far to something they weren't ready for, and then they're trying to figure out how to come back from it with the stuff that they weren't ready to experience. So mushrooms can be good, but having a foundational, educational way of doing it, which takes a lot more bravery and courage, can be better for you. Like, I don't advocate people smoke weed or do any drugs until they've got bodybuilding down. I don't think any man should be doing drugs until he can bench 225 and squat like 300, like at least 2 plates. If you can bench and squat at least 2 plates, and you can do like 50 pull-ups, and you can run a mile, I think then you can do weed, then you can do mushrooms. You need to have the strong, stern, disciplined control over your body before you're able to recognize how much control you actually have over your cells. Because if you don't have that disciplined, structured routine, you will be immediately rejected by the hive mind collective conscious based under Capricorn ball influence. You'll be completely seen as the enemy,
You will be attacked spiritually. You'll think you're gang stalked because you're emanating something that is triggering to the hive mind. The mind flayer won't be happy with you. So you need to have this foundational thing first, is what I've learned. Like, I would have been much better off in life if I had stayed in the gym when I had these spiritual breakthroughs and done it consecutively. Because I went too far into the Christ Consciousness 33 and I didn't have the Capricorn foundation, so that trying to live in a Capricorn society completely ostracizes you and you have to deal with so much more bullshit. Karmic pest, that's pretty funny. I think I was ready at least this time, but I shouldn't mess with things or entity further than what gave me what I needed. Basically, you're in an ayahuasca trip right now. Your life is an ayahuasca trip. We're in it right now. Ayahuasca separates you from self so that you experience the ayahuasca trip externally. Because it's trying to teach you how to mold that external journey into your internal experience. It's trying to help you internalize your shamanistic ritual, your ayahuasca trip. You see these things, and it seems outside of you. Like, you go places like, what the Jewish guy on Joe Rogan, Ari Shafir, did a drug, and his journey was like as a fish underwater, and he lived as a fish with a fish wife in a fish house, and he lived there for 40 years, and then he woke up crying and screaming and trying to drink the water because he thought he needed to breathe the water, because he had seen in his 40 years what the surface and the air was like when he lived for 40 years. In his trip that lasted 15 minutes, he lived for 40 years. And in that 40 years being down there, he knew that the air wasn't breathable, and he had been conditioned to believe it. So when he came out of the trip, when he realized none of it was real, and his fish wife and fish kids weren't real, he was trying to get the water into his lungs because he thought he was a fish. He couldn't figure it out. But that 15-minute trip could be, yeah, maybe you were a fish alien in a past life in Atlantis, and you were shown yourself as an observer in your everyday experience, and you lived unconscious that you were actually observing from another realm outside of space and time. You really thought you were consciously in that, making those decisions, when that is separate from space and time. So in this space and time here, or in this finite existence, you lived as a fish person for 40 years. Whereas simultaneously outside of space and time, you were also living as Ari Shafir in the Joe Rogan Experience. But that thing took you outside of space and time to Casey and OB and Kang the Conqueror and the Yggdrasil Tree of Life of Loki. You went to that time space authority outside of space and time, that metaphysical management of the multiverse. And then you were just plugged in as an observer, but you thought you were conscious, but really you were in two places at once. So it just transmitted your bandwidth and made you unconscious here just to give you a more vivid understanding of that experience. Maybe that's the case, or maybe it was completely created in a higher intelligence generation of like a spiritual video game where you did live at all that, but it was like Roy from Rick and Morty, where it just wasn't real at all. And that would point to entities the infinite trying to educate you about how to understand and enjoy your finite experience on this realm better. Whether it was real or it wasn't, it happened. When I try to zoom out like that, things get crazy. People get violent. Crows start screaming. Things get very upset. I see demonic entities. I see spell work and influence and people's wills and harvesting of energy and using it to hurt others and control them spiritually. And I see a higher level of all this different stuff and how this interplay of exchange of information, and something doesn't like it. But then I'm like, oh, that's actually literally my soul's purpose as exalted Aquarius moon. But Sagittarius, student of life, Ophiuchus, taking it all with the ether with no element and bringing it to the top. In the 8th house of shared resources and darkness and influence and scorpionic alchemical transmutation. When I get more into the spirit of actually seeing my soul's purpose, the matrix or whatever does respond as if it's like I'm out of its control, and it gets angry at it and responds accordingly to keep me, because that's they say it's literally the demiurge's job as a systematic influence on the planet. That's literally Satan's thing. That's why it's there, to keep the control over the mediation under the heavy foot of Capricorn. Look at this loser. Try South Africa, where the government doxes refugees and our livestock is dying because the government doesn't want... I was talking about South Africa being a Satanist country earlier. Literally like 20 minutes ago, I was talking about South African Satanists. Yeah, spirit guides. Natalie says, dude, I felt the same thing with I don't care if this is real or not. I just knew I was putting faith in good spirits and knew when I broke through normal reality that those spirits were there for me. But the question is, were you at a level of consciousness where you would be able to become aware of what you were creating for yourself to help you and what was actually another entity in the electromagnetic spectrum entangling, sort of projecting itself? When you live in the woods long term, you really are forced to understand what is actually you and what is actually in other intelligences, where I realized that I had realized that I had trauma had forced me to become my own guardian angel. The only way that I could function was by creating, but now at a higher level, because I did think that I was creating that, but now at a more expansive level where I am more outside of the veil, I can also see that those thoughts was an impulsive stimulation from another entity, but the entity was not what I thought it was. I thought it was like a guardian angel communicating with me that looked a certain way and had a certain energy. But what I really saw was that it was a different entity that was much darker, that was manipulating my own consciousness to create the image of and the energy of that. So at the first level, I thought I was being led by a guardian angel. Then I was like, okay, I had trauma and isolation had forced me to multiple personality create my own spirit guide in order to help me get through isolation and trauma and horrible stuff. But then as I got more and more out of it, I realized I wasn't creating it. I was being manipulated to create it by something that was actually external. And I think that as you come with complexity, you'll grow more and more into understanding how much is actually you and how much is actually others, and how much there's levels of you pretending to be other things in order to help you. And then you get to a higher level where you break through. And the biggest breakthrough that I usually have is understanding that everything outside of my eyes is also literally me. And that's when people get to the we are all one, we're all one consciousness experiencing it through different bodies. Because I get to the point where I realize, oh fuck, I am in like a personalized simulation. But then at the higher level, you're like, oh no, we're all God. Like the people that I'm meeting is literally me. Sometimes I think it's like my ancestors are coming in and talking to me, and I think that they're strangers, but really it is a Truman Show. But then you realize that everything is God's authority. All the cells in the universe, all the particles and everything is all coalesced in tandem in the will of the Creator. And then you realize you can't really make mistakes. Because the universe won't let you divert from your true path. It's just how that path is generated is dependent on the prompts. I'm like living in a living haystack, and I'm tiny, and I'm going through all these really complex burrows inside of it with tons of different creatures in there and crazy experiences. And if I try to do something that isn't meant for me, I will be guided back to where I'm supposed to go. And those burrows are constantly changing. Like I was called to do Insta work. There was a gig in Montpelier. I went to Montpelier, and as soon 10 minutes before I was going to go to the gig to make $40, suddenly I was rejected and canceled. They said no. Then they wouldn't reimburse me. Then I found out it was a scam, which sucked. But then I took that opportunity to drive around to different businesses in the area and ask if they needed help, and all of them said no. So I was able to check off, while I was there, I was able to make use of it to check off that, yeah, that wouldn't have been a possibility. So that for the rest of my journey, I couldn't have had the what if, because that was the only place I hadn't checked. I checked everywhere else so far. I hadn't checked there. In terms of places where I could park overnight, that the town wouldn't be aggressive towards me, and I had a good relationship with the local PD, so I wouldn't have any drama. That was the one place I hadn't gone. So because of the Insta work guiding me there, I was able to knock that off. But then I got then suddenly I get texted, and I probably wouldn't have gone back that way for a month. But because of that, then somebody in a town 20 miles away, which is 100 miles from here, told me that they had winter tires for me and all of my stuff out of storage. If I hadn't gone here to empty my car out here, and then gone the Insta work and gone back, and had it not work out, and if Demon Hunter hadn't sent me gas money, I wouldn't have been able to go down to get all of my stuff. And when I got there, I found a mechanic who would do it for free, whereas I was trying to save up to pay this mechanic. So I had $280. I was going to this town where a mechanic said he would replace one of my wheel bearings for $280, and I got stuck in the snow, and I had to give a tow company $200 because I didn't have snow tires. $200. So I didn't have enough, and I had to go back. But a month later, and I got to speak at the homeless rally, and I got in touch with the mayor, and I met a bunch of cool people at the shelter, and I found a place for storage in the future, and I found people that would be interested in buying an idea that I'm trying to make. I networked and got cool stuff, even though the jobs wouldn't hire me and the town was aggressive. I still made non-normal societal expectations. I made a lot of progress. And then I had to go back to somewhere else, and I found here, and then I was forced to here. But then a month later, I was literally led and guided, showing me, no, you can't work here, they won't take you, but also notifications that guided me to a different place where I was able to, for free, other than cost for the parts, which will be $80, for free, somebody's willing to do $600 worth of work on the car at a school. It's a certified mechanic that can do the job and will guide the kids through it. It's not going to be a bad job, but they're going to do it for free and change my tires over to winter tires. So the money that I spent was educational for me, networking, all this stuff. I went through it, saw a bunch of different stuff, learned a lot about life. And then even though the money got spent at Ray's, and then I had to go meet another Casey and Ray guided me to a different town with a different Casey and Ray, where I found somebody that will do it for free. Instead of spending what would have been $600, I now only have to spend $80. So now I'm trying to get $80 plus gas. I have a $25 card. I've got $10 in cash. I've got $17 on my Cash App. Plus somebody just sent me $20. So I'm trying to get enough for 2 wheel hubs for my 2011 Toyota RAV4, and then I just have to make sure I have enough gas plus those wheel hubs to get me down. I mean, worst case scenario, I bet you I could go ask somebody for the money for the wheel bearings. I don't want to. I tried InstaWork. I tried this. I'm waiting for tomorrow. I'm going to check in with them and see if they can hire me. If they're going to go through with hiring me, then I will have the money for it. But worst case scenario, if it comes time where they text me and say, hey, we're ready for you, and I go there and I need $50, I will say, hey, I have this place coming. Can you mind spotting me 50? And then you see I have employment here. You know I'm not a freeloading bum. You know I'm going to get the money back to you. It won't be a big deal. And they make a lot of money. I just don't know how much on Rock Auto 2 wheel hubs for 2011 Toyota RAV4, and I'm not sure what the if it's a 3.6 or a 2.7 engine, and that it's too. Well, we can try to pop the hood and check it out real quick. And my phone's at 97, which is cool. Which is why I was live in the first place, was to charge. Okay. Where is it supposed to say if it's a 2.7 or 3.6? And is this a healthy sound, or is that a belt going? I'll have to find the manual. I'm not see on my last car it said 3.6 right here. Cooling fans it says, doesn't say. It just has a type of, it says 5W20, 0W20. Would a 3.6 have different? VVT-I dual. Oh, maybe it's up here. I don't want that to have the. Yeah, that's in Japanese, probably. Improper service may cause industry to use only that type of oil. It doesn't say. It's just vehicle emission control. It's got the VIN up there. Yeah, it doesn't. I'm not seeing it. Bitch. Maybe I have the manual in the glove compartment if I was smart. Which I don't. Maybe it's in here. I don't know what this is. It's tweezers and band-aids and stuff. I'm too rooted in survival for like normal everyday human stuff. Like I don't have the perspective that most people can get because of their comfort to allow them to expand and see life differently. I'm still in survival mode. Sometimes I get peace where I'm like, oh, I can see more how I was crazy and how other people saw me. But that doesn't knock what I was going through. And if I was unhappy about something, there's reason for it. And I went through it for a reason. But I'm going to have to wait to find the specs to this car. I don't need it right away. I just need it by the time I have the money and I get down there where they're going to give me the parts with their discount for the educational stuff. Then the mechanic will be able to tell me whether it's a 2.7 or 3.6. It's 4-wheel drive. 3 hour stream. I live streamed for 7 hours yesterday. The all-seeing eye, the one at the dollar bill, when Jim Carrey and Jimmy Fallon went like that. I think that's the eye of Saturn. The hexagonal storm with the eye, with the dot in the middle of it that's bigger than the Earth, that's on top of Saturn, like the yarmulkes the Jewish wear. I can't afford a burrito, so I have to do expired protein bars. Just for a month, I spent all my money on giving food to people who didn't meet the work requirement for food stamps. So they were homeless and they couldn't get food stamps because people don't want to hire homeless people. And some of them actually can't work. They're not mentally capable yet. They need to go through the being out in the woods for a few months, safe and at peace, and then working with their hands, like clearing trails or shoveling or raking or landscaping or something. And then they might be able to normalize a little bit. If this place won't hire me, I won't be eligible for food stamps next month because of the work requirement. But I'm trying to get a toaster oven. So, worst case scenario, I go to a food shelf once a week and I can get a pound of chicken, a dozen eggs, some cereal, and some microwavable rice. And then I should be able to survive. And I mean, if that happens, I can ask gas stations if I can get the stuff that they throw out at the end of the night. Like, even if they don't hire me, I think we eventually will have a rapport good enough that they won't mind if I go in and be like, hey, when you throw out the stuff, can you put it in a separate bag? That way I can have it here, and I'll give it to the church, and they can have it for the people. You know, like, honorable revolutionary things that capitalistic society wants you to think is wrong, like giving money to people in need or giving food to the hungry. I did just get 20, but I don't know if I can. It's like $4.75 for the fucking burrito. I don't think I can do it. Oh, what am I saying? I have burritos in the back. I have a couple frozen burritos left, actually. Let's go heat up my burritos. Thinking ahead. I have an emergency contingency burritos. Which are probably moldy, but I eat them anyway. And I don't feel sick after eating them. So I don't even check them for mold. I just leave them in the back, and I know they're getting moldy, but I just don't even look at it. Because if you don't look at it, you don't taste the difference when it's because of the spiciness of the peppers in the burrito. You don't even know the difference between mold and not mold if you don't look. 18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. I don't want to go to Ram Ranch, but I'd really like to learn how to ride horses. Meow, 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 meow. What time is it? 6? 6:43. And I think this time, I'm not gonna eat my burritos live. I'm gonna go heat them up, and then I'm gonna watch YouTube, which makes me feel better. I didn't want to bother that guy. He was definitely mad. But he pulled up next to my car. He kept looking in the car. He got out smoking a cigarette. His head was down. He looked mad. And he was scoping out the car, looking in it. So I knocked on the window and just said, "Yo, I'm in here." And then he came right to the window and was trying to press me through the window about it. And I said, I didn't, he thought I said go, like go away. And I said, no, I said, yo, I'm in here. And he was like, oh, you live there? Trying to insinuate I'm a piece of crap for living in the car. And I was like, yeah, I travel, man. It's no big deal. It's only a big deal. And then like 4 hours before, 2 sets of people came in. One person, or one group, oh, my fucking headlight's out. Oh, fuck. Why is the headlight out? Yep, it's out. That's not good. That's a big target on my back. It means I gotta replace a fuse. Could have just gotten loose. Go fuck yourself. Okay. Trash can. She said, Stewart's Shops is very strict about who they hire, and they probably will not go through with it just because, although you were honest about it and the charges are minuscule, it might be better to run like that with 2 headlights. My headlights are out. Look. She said basically that she might even be going into the bathroom to talk to her boyfriend right now. Her boyfriend works for FedEx, and he's a manager at FedEx. Which is what I want to do. No, she was actually really nice, and she heated up my burritos, but she says that the company is very strict about what they can do and can't do. And they don't really like to hire people with criminal records, even though you were honest about it. And she said, I like honesty, and she was really nice. But she said her boyfriend works at FedEx and I should do FedEx. And I was like, the reason I'm here is because I can't get a job at FedEx. And she's like, well, my boyfriend's a manager over there, so I gave her my phone number to give to him, and maybe he can call me and talk about it. Because if I get FedEx, that means by May, I could have a piece of land. If I do FedEx, where I just wake up at 6 a.m. and I work until 11 p.m., go to bed, and I just do that for 2 months straight, I can have close to $10,000. And there is, oh, fuck you. I literally left for like 5 minutes. What the hell are you guys doing here? How long was I gone for? 5 to 10 minutes? Who are you guys? I hope they didn't see me pissing out of my car if they were here earlier and I just didn't see them. What the fuck? What are you doing? What in tarnation? Why won't my mom die? Please. So we're gonna go in and see what's going on. I'm gonna say, hey, I got my stuff here, I'm sorry. But this is what I'm planning on doing for you guys and the community and everybody and your moms. I know they have it unlocked. They're having a meeting. And I'm going to come in and say hi. And then I probably will end the live to be respectful. Howdy. Good. What is this? Hey. Hey. I was just looking to talk to somebody with the church.
With the church? You okay? You having a tough time?
I stay here at night. I'm homeless.
Okay.
And I just moved a lot of my stuff from where I was. I was in a situation, I've been traveling for like 13 years. Since I was 13, I've been homeless.
Yeah.
So I've been looking for a peace to like be safe and like rest while I work on other stuff. So I'm here.
Just before you go too far, we're not affiliated with them at all.
Okay.
But let me hand this over to him. I'm gonna come out and talk to you for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm Dan, by the way.
I'm Casey.
Okay, so nice to meet you, Dan.
Nice to meet you. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm used to giving the spiel.
No, you're good. Come on out. So we can't officially. It was up to me, I'd say, fucking come on in and do whatever you gotta do. So you may, I know they'll help you out, you just gotta get hold of somebody during.
I know Margaret and Kate.
Margaret's gone. Margaret, the old pastor, for me?
Margaret with the red car that is in the office in here.
When's the last time you talked to her?
Last week.
Okay, so it must be another Margaret. I know there was a female pastor that left a few weeks ago. Now there's a new guy, but so have they told you anything about setting you up, like helping you out?
They just said I could stay, put my car here as long as I need.
Okay.
And the plan is I have trespassing on my record, which is like they tried driving me somewhere. And then
Me too.
Hurricane, I went into a field. It was owned by the same company.
Okay.
So I got that on the record, so like
I go around here.
so I've been pretty much everywhere at this point. I tried Montpelier, I tried Randolph, through Northfield, I went up to Newport, tried Newport, and I'm here, at least here they said I can keep the car here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to them because I went back to my old stuff and I have all of my stuff
Mm-hmm.
and I put it behind that shed under a tarp.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk to them about one, checking in that this job is going to talk to the supervisor about hiring me, even though I have the record.
Okay.
And her boyfriend works for FedEx, so he might, even though FedEx wouldn't take me before, he might be able to do it.
Okay.
So that's just where I'm at.
So we're this is Alcoholics Anonymous. We're all fucking ex-crackheads and drunks. So
My dad, I grew up in AA with my dad.
I can tell you that these are the most fucking, it's the most chill church we've ever done. These people are so fucking kind and easygoing, man. So I don't think anything's gonna mess with your stuff. I know that the pastor is usually here, at least Tuesdays and Wednesday mornings we're here. He's usually here around 8-ish. So I think if you pop back by around 8, if you want to talk to him, we don't have an affiliation, so we'd be full of shit. I mean, if we're in here and you want to come in and use the bathroom or something, we're gonna go fuck. But you just, once we're out of here, you have to go, we get in trouble. That's the only thing we say, because we're gonna lock him behind us. So
That's good.
yeah.
That's fine.
But you're good to go, man. But that's what I would recommend. Coming back in and probably like 8 a.m.-ish, or even you could probably Google a phone number for here. That's probably you probably get Margaret depending on when you call. So, but we don't give a shit. You can go to the You know, it's like we're not gonna snitch on you. As long as you're like, don't get us and put us in a bad place. We don't care.
Do you are you trying to like expand or work with addiction recovery, or like get into nonprofits, or pursue like a career with it? Or?
Myself?
Yeah.
No, I've been doing it for 20 years, and the beautiful thing about AA is you don't have to believe any particular religion, and there's no association with any politics. Do you know what I'm saying? So that keeps it real simple for me. So I've been doing this for so fucking long that it's just routine for me now. I do like 4 or 5 meetings a week. I sponsor like 3 guys, and we just do the best we can to try to, stay on the right side of the disease and not fucking kill ourselves. You know what I mean? So it's as much a thinking problem as it is a drinking problem. So
my dad has it. I think the longest he went was 11 years sober.
Your dad's an alcoholic?
Yeah.
Have you ever checked out ACOA or Al-Anon?
I know he's in an RV and he's just bouncing around with 2 cats.
No, I meant for you.
Okay.
Because growing up an alcoholic as a parent installs some pretty tough stuff that you have to cope with.
I mean, my mom had CPTSD. She was in Section 8. She was nuts. And it was definitely weird. I didn't spend a lot of time with my dad. Yeah. What I saw from him was...
But even that causes damage, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether there it causes damage, whether not there it causes damage.
Yeah.
So, we're selfish fuckers, bro. We have kids, and the kids know when they're not the priority. They can fucking feel it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And we're selfish fuckers. We try to come here and be less selfish fuckers, but we do a lot of damage. And damage that even our kiddos sometimes don't even realize. So don't be surprised someday you're like, oh fuck, wait, why am I a people pleaser so much? Well, oh shit, because I wasn't getting what I needed somewhere, right? So,
I definitely have that with my mom.
Yeah. So just be open to it if you could, because there may be something there for you. Because we do a lot of damage.
I was more. Have you heard of Phoenix Gym in Boston?
I haven't. I know I've heard of like Phoenix recovery houses, but not Phoenix Gym.
In Boston, it's just a big gym in Boston that's specifically for people with addiction, and you have to be clean to go there.
Yeah.
It changes the habit, whatever they're going through, that habit changing to the endorphin rush, and then you have a community of people working out every day. And then if you use, you can't come back. So they found it works that when people find the community in a safe place, and they have the thing to get all their problems out, working out, it's like 90% recovery rate for 4,000 people, which is great. I don't think any other program can say that they have 90% recovery rate.
That's amazing. Yeah, I haven't heard of that. As far as I know, AA had the best numbers, but
I want to put one in. I want to talk to them and put one in Burlington, and I would need people that were like good with people, like you with experience, that care and know what they're doing, and then just you would be working out with people all day.
Then you know where you should go. It's the Turning Point Center in Burlington. Do you know where that is?
No, I've heard about Turning Point because of the news and everything.
No, not that Turning Point. This is a different Turning Point. This is not, again, not politically.
Okay.
There's a Turning Point Center. Well, there's a few of them all over one. There's one in downtown Burlington, and it's totally recovery based, but they cover all aspects. They cover, are you a single father trying to make it? Is your thing cocaine? Is your thing alcohol? Or is it Al-Anon? Is it ACO? It's all aspects of recovery. So they would be a great place to start, to go and talk to them about something like that. They would be able to set you up with all the right people, 100%.
Okay.
And I know they'd be very interested in talking.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Right now I'm trying to build wagons. So I got someone in Montpelier with a garage, and the mayor of Newport is interested. It's like a rickshaw where you can take it 4x10 with got all your stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then you take it out, put it into a saddlebag, and then the whole thing folds up. The walls come down, everything folds up at your side. The wheels roll in so that you can carry it, and then you put the saddlebag and your stuff over it.
For what, for like hiking? Or like camping?
It could be for hiking. It could just be it would be replacing campsites. So when you're homeless and you're out in a campsite, food stand, Walmart, and then now there's just trash everywhere. Instead you have everything there, it's safe, no more police brutalities by violating your Fourth Amendment, by ripping your tent apart to get you. Now they can't get you. You can put solar panels on it, all your stuff is protected and locked with a key that goes, one key stays with a place like this, and then you have a key, and it's just you can still be out in the woods in nature, and if you get trespassed, your stuff isn't there, and you have to beg for a ride, you just put it in, take your rickshaw, and go to the edge of the property line. That's great. So I'm trying to do it, I'm just working, I don't know how to make it not heavy, because it's going to be heavy for the walls. I want to paint it like a barn, 3D printed shingles. So, that's awesome. Right? So that when people drive by, they don't see a tent site, they see a little red barn.
Yeah,
so
right now you can use it, right, for what you got out there.
Yeah, I'm also trying to get I'm trying to buy, eventually when I get a job, I want to buy them a storage shed so that people in my situation don't have to leave their stuff behind that doghouse. You won't find a more open-minded church. And these guys, it's hard to do in a church. They're so chill. Yeah. So I felt that too. Yeah. It's different here. It is. This place they're really, really good people, and it's more about community than it is any kind of religion. You know what I mean? It's about doing the right thing, and my experience with it. Like, so when COVID hit, there was a Zoom. I'm like, that's not going to work for us, bro. We need more than Zoom. And we came and talked to them, and they let us do like 4 meetings a week here. It was crazy. They were so great. They were so great. Is there anything that I can do to help you guys? I do have a car. No, we're good, man. Like I said, we don't even know them. They gave us a key, and we come here in our days. We pay them a little bit of rent, and that's it. So like I said, at AA, we're not affiliated with anyone. We just show up and we talk about what's fucked up in our lives that we're trying not to get drunk over, and that's really it. But they need all the help they can get. Churches just don't have the support money like they used to. So I would talk to them about it. But if you're like I said, if you're interested in helping around recovery, Turning Point's a good place to start. If you want to talk about like the Phoenix Gym, they probably have information on it if it already exists elsewhere in the country. So I would definitely talk to them. We're trying to get a piece of land so that it can be like a sanctuary, because we found that the biggest thing that helps people in that place is having a safe place in the woods where nobody can go, nobody but you can come in or out, and you just lay there in the woods, and the stuff that comes up, you have a chance to deal with outside of survival, and and then I'm trying to transition them to working with their hands at a homestead, or get a church van that picks them up and takes them to the road crew to hold a flag for a couple hours, and then get them into that, and then slowly, I also have an entire home gym, bench press, squat rack, pull up and dip bar dumbbells, just sitting in a basement in Brattleboro.
Yeah.
So I'm looking around because I used to be a bodybuilder. I want to get back into it for myself.
Yeah.
I just can't find anyone with the land. I have a cabin tent stove. I'm trying to do that, and I'm also looking for a job. That's my problem. Is that I can't find people that will hire me.
You're legit about trying to hook into recovery somehow for a community. I think there's a lot of people that would be interested in hearing about it. And again, I highly suggest go to Turning Point and say, hey, I've got this idea. Where should I start? You're gonna have, probably the best advice you're gonna have around.
Okay.
So if you really want to in, one of my sponsees works there. Ask for Jeremy if you want.
Okay.
So you're gonna go walk up the building. You're gonna ring the bell. They're gonna come there and ask you if you're fucked up, basically. No, I'm good today. I'm gonna be here to be sober. They just want to make sure that you're not gonna come in and make them feel unsafe. And you walk in and it's just like a little sober club. You can go play chess, you can play guitar, there's a bathroom you can use, you can go make coffee, and there's sobriety counselors, there's lists of different kind of meetings they do, and they'd be happy to point you in the right direction. They're a great resource.
I hate seeing that that's like a huge percentage of Vermont that just wants to get rid of it because they think that it's taking up all their tax money and
we don't even have good rehab.
Yeah.
Vermont doesn't even have a good rehab anymore. Ever since Maple Leaf Falls, Valley Vista is pretty much, all the way over to it's bad.
Yeah.
So I do have to get back.
It's all good.
What was your name again?
Casey.
Casey?
Yeah.
Dan, nice to meet you, brother. So yeah, stay warm. And I check in with these guys tomorrow for sure. These guys are great. Turning Point's great, and we're here on Wednesdays, Tuesday and Thursday mornings, 7:30 a.m. If you ever want to come find us again, we're here, bro.
Yeah.
All right. You take it easy, bro.
For sure. When I was walking up the steps, my spirit guides went, "It's an AA meeting, it's not church." So I was like, all right, but maybe somebody in the church would be there.
And the guy was not interested in the job part. I think I said it twice. I was like, and I'm looking for a job, I'm looking for a job. And he did not have an answer for me. But just to show you, let's go take a look real quick at how expensive these fucking cars these people are driving are. I know for a fact, I was just in a room with carpenters, electricians, and hardworking people that have money. And they would be the coolest people, probably. Didn't seem like he wanted me to be in there. I think he did make me feel welcome, but also he was tried to separate me from the alcoholics group to talk to me, which was cool. My sister's name is Danielle. Dan is one of the Casey names. But yeah, we're looking at a collective total of probably $150,000 right here in the cars that they're driving. Like, we got $100,000 truck, easily $100,000 truck, probably $70,000, $80,000 Jeep right there. That looks like $15,000 truck. That SUV is probably $40,000. This car, I don't know what type of car that is, and then this one's the same type of SUV I've got, which is probably $5,000. Those guys have or know the people that could help me with what I'm trying to do in life. They know a farmer with land that needs a helper. They know a carpenter with money that could use the help because he's old. They know that they don't know me. So I just have to keep going down the road, and then hopefully the big picture ideas for homelessness is a good place to start. I know they need a content creator, but like one of the big things that homeless people probably need is a content creator that isn't trying to profit off of laughing and shaming them, that can actually get them in a good light, even if they reveal themselves to be lazy, freeloading bums. At least you have me as a reference to show that they're not all bad. And that guy didn't call me a crazy loser. That guy didn't call me a piece of crap. And I bet he's driving a nicer truck than you are. So, I'm going to eat my food and go to bed. Good night.